special episode of Injury Time. This is my first episode since I broke my leg. It's good to be back. And like we say in Indian football, the news is always there, and who better than to bring in the man, who's definitely been in the news of late. Please give a big welcome to Ranjit Bajaj. Hi, Mr. Bajaj. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Right. Let me also bring in my other panelist, Sandeep Menon.
What's
Hi,
up?
Sandeep.
Hey, what's up? And thanks again, Ranjit, for doing this.
Right.
It's awfully kind of you.
Yeah.
And over just one text message, very quickly
Yeah.
this happened.
Yeah. So, see, that's the whole point. That's what we actually going to try to bring into AIF if this passes is complete transparency. So that's one of the things later on you can touch on, and I'll then explain what I mean by that.
Right. I just want to say that I had a Bajaj scooter at home growing up. I don't know if all three of us share the same. Right.
My story is that people used to call me in school Bajaj scooter, and then the bullies used to pull my hair and make me go like a scooter.
Right. I thought it would be more Hamara Bajaj type.
Yeah. So that was later on when I got a little bit taller and I was in class 7, 8, 9. But before that, everyone gets bullied. So Bajaj scooter.
Right. And like, say, for the good or the bad, you're in the news again, Ranjit. And I just have to ask, right? Are you magnetically attracted to the news, or is the news magnetically attracted to you? What is it?
I am attracted to the truth.
Okay.
And there are very few people who are sadly in this time who have no self-motivated vested interest and who are doing it for the good of the game. So people don't know that I played for my country under 19, and still, no matter what I've achieved in life, still my proudest moment is when I wore the India shirt.
Right.
And that is what I've been in those unreserved train compartments to places like, no disrespect, but places like Purnia 30 years ago, Bihar, and Agartala in Tripura. But not the places which are wrong, the way we were made to travel and everything to do with being a footballer in India and why I left the sport. So the whole thing comes from that. And that then with my life story, with who I was and who I am, way back in the past, it's made me live. So people don't know that it's made me live by my morals. I will live and die by my morals, and that is the way I'm living my life. And that's why I have a very, very, very nice, peaceful sleep at night, because I know that I have been truthful. Simple.
Right. So let's get down to brass tacks, right? And obviously, the talking point of the hour is the COA, or the Committee of Administrators. Yes. So we know that there are three people on the panel. We know that there's the Honorable Dr. S.Y. Qureshi. We know there's Justice Dave, and we know that there's Bhaskar Ganguly, right? What is your designation, if I may ask, and how many more people are there advising the COA? We just want to know the structure overall.
Yeah. So what happened was that, by the way, people don't know this about Qureshi Saab. He's not only he was the ex-chief election commissioner and all. He was also, his father was the founding father of DSA, the Delhi Football Association, way back. And he used to play as a goalkeeper himself, and he I think played for Delhi State and Santosh Trophy and probably India. So the football, he knows football, and his elder brother is also the founder, one of the presidents, ex-presidents of the Delhi. So I mean that runs in his family. So football is there. Okay, so right in the beginning, what happened was that, as everyone knew, that there was a committee which was formed, and then it was disbanded overnight, much before the FIFA and AFC thing came in, because by the time the committee was formed and the letter came to AIF, what FIFA wants, FIFA didn't want any additional people joining in, or basically third-party interference. So what the COA did was unofficially put me as the advisor to the COA. Why? Because I'm the petitioner. So I'm in 4 ways I'm connected with this case. The original constitution was made by Qureshi sir and by Novi Kapadia sir, the late great Novi Kapadia sir, wish she was alive. Novi sir and Bhaskar da and me, and I a lot of sections of that was designed, especially the conflict of interest and everything else. So from then I've been following and I've been making sure that I'm involved in this and I get the basic pyramid rights and get the basics. We'll talk about that later. Then after that, because of being involved in the constitution, then being a intervention petition, jiski petition pe ye sab kuch hua hai, and Praful Patel was removed because the whole point was this was not being listed, and it was the excuse being used by the other party, and they spent 3 crore rupees on Praful Patel's fees just to make sure it's not listed. Actually, their lawyers didn't do anything. Okay, they just paid fees because to make sure that it was not listed. So when Prashant Bhushan sir came and appeared for me, he made sure it got listed, and within the same hearing, this entire thing took place. So then, this petitioner, the third thing, as the biggest critic of AIFL, there is no bigger critic of AIFL. So what they wanted was the being the devil's advocate and being somebody who will always be anti everything which is around them, because you have to still understand when COA went to the AIFF, it was still AIFF, and every person who was there was still there, and they didn't know who to trust and who not to trust and what to do about this. So because of me being a critic, they knew, and another person they really trusted was Jaideep Basu as journalist, because he was also another critic in the media, the only critic who's there, in independent critic, not working for any newspaper as per se. So they were the two people they really trusted because of that fact. And they brought us in saying that you have to make sure that you are there in an advisory capacity. Now, as an advisor, you can only say stuff when they ask you, and there is no other power. Okay. Now, why were they doing this? Now, not only me, they also held meetings with Rahul Mehra sir, the original petitioner. Jiske Rahul Mehra is the lawyer who brought all this up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wherever.
So, because now who all can go to court and screw this up? That means who can poke things so that this thing gets slowed down or we can get a long day. So there were 4 people. It was me as the petitioner, whose petition brought this up, or Rahul Mehra, second. The third was the stakeholders. The stakeholders are the state FAs. And the fourth was AIFF administration itself. So if what the CO's plan was that if we make sure that all the stakeholders get all the suggestions already, we are able to decide on them already, and then when we present it, no one should go to court then. What they wanted to make sure was that no matter what they did, as long as, so they didn't care about my suggestions or FSDL Reliance or even states, nobody's suggestions. They said everything has to be in accordance with the National Sports Code, number one, because that's our nation's law. Second, it has to be with FIFA's regulation, because that's who we are a member of. So from day one, they were very, very cognizant of the fact that FIFA can ban, and they were threatening to come in. That's what they did. FIFA came and bullied and threatened that we are going to ban India. So the COA did not like that at all, being bullied and threatened by them. In fact, they were not happy with it, with the attitude of these coming and telling the COA what to do, when the entire COA's entire function was not to take power, but just to get the constitution done, the election done, and move on. And that's the mandate of the board. Simple as that. So, but things went off very well after that, and they listened to everything FIFA had to say. FIFA's demands were very few and listed. In fact, in all the comments which FIFA said again and again, do you know that not even once did they mention the MRA or the ISL, even though they keep on saying it's official, not even once did FIFA mention it in their comments to them. That they mentioned 22 other things which they wanted in the constitution or not wanted in the constitution, but they didn't mention this part. Now, look at the other strange part. The states who have just come up with this new thing that, MRA should be done. Not even once in their 22 meetings, they had 22 meetings with the COA. Not even once in the 22 meetings, online and dono milagar, did they mention this fact about the MRA. This has just been brought up. So that will, the states coming and doing this and then going to the court right now, and then FSD Reliance going to the court right now, will paint a very sorry picture, because there might be now a date given. Now, if a date is given, that's when we miss the people. So the whole point of doing all this was this. Now, any other questions you have? Go on.
Yeah, so you mentioned the idea is to ensure that the whole thing happens very smoothly. So you had conversations. So I just want to know, what is this conversation you had with the stakeholders? Because both the state FA and FSDL has now, come out and put a court,
Okay.
went to the court. So
So let's
Is
start.
nobody happy with the suggestions?
Okay, so let's first start with the state FA's suggestions, comments, and the whole saga, and then what they've done now, and then what they're doing. So let's finish with the states first. So, like the states, they formed a 7-member executive committee to
Yes.
represent all the states. Then later on, we came to know that the executive committee never took on board most of the states when they were giving the comments in. For example, the whole panga was, the whole point, the problem was that half the states wanted something else and half the states wanted something else. They were never on the same page. Okay, I'll give you examples.
Sorry, let's just backtrack. Who formed this panel then? Who formed this 7-member panel?
Shaji formed it. It was Shaji who took the initiative and started forming this panel. And how did he form this panel? It was just an informal, okay, you are the member, you are the member, you are the member, you are the member. So it was no
Right.
actual.
Right. No, because you're saying half the states wanted something else, half the states wanted something else, right?
If it was a 7-member executive committee representing everybody else, then this entire panga wouldn't have come up. For example, let me tell you the problems. For half the states wanted that these rules which are being applied now should be applied prospectively or retrospectively. For example, that if you've already been, the new rules say that if you've been in the executive committee for over 12, any member in the executive committee, for example, Subrata Datta was there for 16 years as senior vice president. He says these new rules should now apply from now. Just because I've been there for 16 years, I didn't know. Otherwise, I would have resigned long time ago. So he wanted now to stand for president, so be there for another 12 years. That means he can be ruling, kind of de facto ruling AFF for 28 years. That's the whole point of bringing in National Sports Code. You cannot have people for more than 12 years. So now they went to FIFA with this. Okay, Subrata Datta went to FIFA. And when the FIFA panel came and met them. So FIFA said in our body, anybody who's in the executive committee is considered an office bearer. So if that is there, we cannot go and tell the COA not to have this rule for you. So that's very backed off. Then second part is then half the states say that politicians should not be allowed to stand. Shaji says that. So and then next to him was the president of Karnataka, who's Harris, who himself is a politician and member of parliament. So he's sitting next to him, and Shaji is telling the COA, okay, guys, so I don't think all the states have agreed, 35 out of 36, that politicians should not be allowed. Harris says, hey, what are you talking about? I'm sitting right here. And half the states are led by politicians. For example, Churchill is there in Goa, or the Arunachal guy, or in Rajasthan, Manvinder Singh. I mean, 50%, 60% are politicians. So that was one thing they were fighting. Then they were fighting against each other for the point of that. Then the executive 5 vice president and executive committee size. So half was saying that we don't want 5 vice presidents, we want 8 vice presidents, and some were saying 4 vice presidents and 3 vice presidents. These kind of fights. So now the COA made sure that there were no vice presidents. Why? Because they asked them what is the function of a vice president. So he says there is no function. So he says, why do you want to be vice president? Because we should have some position of power. They actually said that. And the COA, that's exactly the reason we don't want to give it to you, because there's no point of being called vice president. They wanted an executive committee membership of 24. Okay. And the total general body size at that time was 36. So in the parliament, you have 10% ministers, man. You can't have 80% of the general body being executive committee. So they said you can't have more than 12. So 1 president, 1 treasurer, 5 and 5. Now the great thing which the states are really objecting to is the players being brought in. Till today, after you retire as a player, unless you become a coach, okay, you're going to live a life of penury unless you are really, really brilliant, man. Which none of our ex-players are, okay? Because you either give up on your studies and you start working hard, and very few people keep on studying also. That means, they can have a second career other than football. So nobody used to even talk to them after that. Because the people in state associations and the national association were people who were professional chores. कैसे आते हैं वो? So if Sandy is sitting, Arka is sitting, Ranjit sitting. So I'm saying, oh यार कोई हाँ यार handball की है, volleyball की है और football की है, तीनों retire हो रहे हैं. तो ठीक है जी, मुझे आप ना जी football दे दो जी. तो मुझे football दे दिया president. I become president of football of my state. 50% of people who have become presidents don't even know what the game was when they became president. That's how the presidents are decided. And they're there for 40 years. They're presidents right now, including Praful Patel from FIFA, who's been there since 1993, going back to Sunil Thapar himself in Punjab, who's been there since 1992. who've been there for donkeys of years and don't do anything. And there was they were saying that's because sports is a state subject. You cannot impose your national sports code on us. So we said, okay, fine, that's true. We can't. So what they did was they put the national sports code, all the things in the in the AFF constitution, and they said you have to follow this. So now, why are the states so pissed off? Let me come to that. States are pissed off because every year they have to have an audit. Every year they have to make sure they organize the senior and junior boys and girls leagues, all of them 13, 15, 18, take part in 3 national competitions. If they don't, they're out. They're disqualified from even voting. They're not the only thing which keeps them there is the voting right. That's out. But what if you do? What do you get? You get money. You get incentives. So out of the pool of thing, according to the budget, they've decided. So we'll come to the money part later. So people who are interested where the money will come from, we'll come there. So the out of the budget, to incentivize states who are doing all that, they get money for doing it. So they, for every competition you do, and for if you don't, you don't. Then after that, all your member associations have to be legal entities. That means you can't have clubs on paper who come and just vote for you. Okay? Or even the district associations members have to be legal entities. The district associations have to be registered societies. That means moment you do all that, audits happen. Every year you have to get an audit done. You can't be fudging records. You can't be eating money. You can't be having false elections happening because the AR assistant registrar comes and makes sure that the election is proper. So all these things coming in account. Then transparency. You have to have a website where you have to upload each and everything. So when I was coming to transparency, I'll bring it in now. Each and everything of AFF above 1 crore has to go for a tender. So what do states say? No. Above 10 crores. Oh my God, you're coming and telling the COA that no, tender should only be about 10 crore. तुम्हारे अभी account में 5 crore नहीं है. But your tender should only be of 10 crore. So everything is transparent. In fact, the moment this happened about the Alex Ambrose thing, the first thing COA did was put it online themselves, which has never happened in the history of Indian football. On top of that, they made the constitution available to everybody and called comments. And can you believe they went over each and every, I'm not kidding, each and every comment every fan sent. Every comment. Not even one comment didn't go over. So we divided up and made it very easy for them. These comments here, these comments here, these comments here. But not even one. Everyone was represented in that meeting. So then the state said that we can't let the players in because we will lose votes. Okay, so FIFA said, the FIFA's problem was that you can't increase the size of the general body. So what they had done, the state COA, following the IOC, the International Olympic Council, which says that you have to give player representation and player commission, and IOC dictats have to be followed by FIFA and AFF because they're members. So, and even the National Sports Code says it's okay. So we made player commissions in every state, which FIFA objected to. So what we did instead was we give 2 votes to every state. One of those votes by an eminent player. So they said, okay, state said, okay, fine, we have no problem with that, as long as we nominate the player. That's the whole point. How can you nominate the player? You will just nominate your yes man. Now, all these players who've been playing and who are eminent players who nobody talks to and who can give so much back to the game under the age of 70, that means 66, will be given a chance to perform. And then they say, what if they are also very, very, like a lot of people in the AFF, if they are also very corrupt? Okay. Now, if you keep on saying that, then nothing will be happening. The whole point is cleaning out this shit and bringing in new people to give a new hope and new chance. So you have to, unless you bring in players, so who knows the pains of a player? Only a player. No matter what an administrator says, he does not know what a player goes through in injury, what a player goes through when he's in selections, in trials, in being unfairly denied this or these overage things. All the things which a player's pain is only is known by a player who's been through it himself. Which people don't even understand when you go to these administrators and talk to them about problems, because they think there's, oh my God, what are you talking tired money? You say you're tired money, paise maang rahe hain. Those kind of things.
Right. Sorry, I had a question here, right? What's your take on the performance of the national team? It's related. What's your take on the performance of the national team management? That's Abhishek Yadav, Shanmugam Venkatesh, the recently terminated Alex Ambrose, Viviano Fernandez. All of these people are in the national team setup according to the AFF's website, right? what is your take on their performance? Because I have a related question to this,
Okay,
obviously.
so the first part, my take is there are two things in life: results and reasons don't count.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Okay.
If as a national coach over a period of one certain time you have not given results, you should be sacked. Simple as that.
Right. Right. Right.
Okay, and if it's not happening, then it's not happening for the wrong
Right.
reasons.
Right.
Simple.
And do you know the connection between these? What is the single thread connecting all of these people?
Yes.
They are ex-players.
So
They are ex-players.
no, okay. So the ex-players.
Yes.
There's another single thread, which I don't want to say online, and there's another two threads which are connected to all of them.
Okay.
Okay, and
we know, but yeah, we
We
can't.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know, but we can't. But this is
so
my
that's what I'm saying. So
this
it's
is my
not.
counter.
Understand?
This is my counter that players are not always.
Never. Okay,
Yeah.
never. So now this was the same thing which was put. Now, do you want? Now there's a choice. Now you guys have a choice. I'm going to give you the choice. You have a choice where you, on one side you have ex-players who spent all their lives on the field, given it all for their country, and now they're retired, and now they come here, and some of them are corrupt. Okay, yes. On the other side, you have professional chores who only come to the federation to eat money, who have no love for the game. The only purpose they're there is to destroy the game or eat from the game. They have no love for the game at all.
Right.
Here, you may get a corrupt guy, may not get a corrupt guy. Here, guaranteed corrupt guy. Where will you go? So अगर मैं वही अगर
So I
करनी है
will.
ना मेरा ये अगर करप्शन करानी है तो प्लेयर्स जो है ना उससे आधी करेंगे उससे कम करेंगे उनको थोड़ी सी शर्म आएगी इनको शर्म ही नहीं है यार एस्ट्रोलॉजर हायर करते हैं 24 लाख का यार
So
मैं ऐसे यहाँ पे यहाँ बना हुआ हूँ 2034 वर्ल्ड कप का बैच खोला हुआ है जस्ट कॉल्ड द पंडित एंड आस्क्ड हिम भाई साहब मैं जाएंगे कि नहीं जाएंगे बता दो मैं पैसे वेस्ट हो गए I mean,
yeah. So we were talking about competence in running the federation, right? That's very important. So you were talking about the players and stuff. So when I had I read through the whole constitution. It's very player centric. So in the first draft there was a CEO role, which had a lot of limitation, right? In terms of has to have experience running this much money and all that.
So the states came out.
So why was that position
So the states
removed? Because that was a very competent position.
Yes, very competent. And even I agreed that it will bloody take away everything and all the corruption from the general secretary and everything will be very professionalized. And the states came and said, we really object to this. The first objection they made to the COA right in the beginning was, we don't want a COA. Why? Because our general secretary is there. Is doubling of the powers. But we said our reasoning was that guy, general secretary, is just going to be picked by anybody and he can come in because he's an official position there. You're going to lose a position. He says, no, we only want one guy there. No one. Because president ने तो काम करना नहीं उनको पता है. तो general secretary ने सारा काम करना है वो अपना बंदा होना चाहिए. अगर CEO डाल दिया तो काम कौन कराएगा सर? So they made sure that and the CEO said, okay, fine. If you don't want it, don't do it. And then they also quoted a judgment again. So when judgments are there, you can't do anything about it. They quoted a BCCI judgment, I think right now, which just said they can't have a CEO or CEO, something like that. So once the Supreme Court comes in, you're screwed. But that's where that judgment also helped us, where they said you have to have eminent players in, and the players also have to have voting rights. Now, there are 36 states with 36 votes, and hopefully there are 36 states with 36 players' votes, and they're equal. And they're not there because of the states, they're there because of the number of internationals they've played in the state.
So even players did not say anything about the astrologer per se, right? So do you expect them to stand up now?
The investigation. Okay, the investigation happened. All the players were asked, well, did this happen? The coach was asked, and everybody denied it. This did not happen. So what the COA did was the very first day when we went in there, within 3 hours, and by the way, I'm really bad at maths and accounts, and I was really bad in school. I had 3 hours, but I knew where to look. It took us 3 hours to find each and every of these corruptions which are coming out right now. And then the records were taken away from us because they said, okay, fine, you found so much. That means there's a lot of shit. We have to give it to a proper forensic private body. And so they made sure that anybody who's worked with AIFF does not get the forensic audit.
So we just had a poll, I think Naveen must have done it online. He said 83% does not want politicians. Like, I don't have a position in this. You discussed this earlier. But I was reading through the constitution, and you were the one who suggested it is okay for the politicians to be allowed because the government of India allows it.
Yeah. So again, what we were doing was we were making sure that either me or Rahul Mehra make sure, or somebody else from AFF, anything which is a suggestion which is going to go against the government of India's laws or the National Sports Code or FIFA is flagged by us and so is taken care of. So we have to always quote a law. I can't just make a suggestion. So the law which was quoted was that the government of India has sent a special notice to us saying that you cannot bar a politician based on the fact, because normally a politician is also a businessman. He may be a lawyer, he may be a doctor, he may be anything. So how do you define a politician? That they came to that fact. Then they came to the fact of the government servant. Okay, a government servant again to the National Sports Code can participate only for after taking permission from the government only for one term. You can only have him for one term. You can't have him for more than that. But a politician, because you cannot define a politician, you can't say you ban a politician. It becomes something known as in elections, because Qureshi Saab was there. He was saying something known as a restrictive policy, and you can't have restrictive policies. That is why the polls of AIFF are now open even to you, Sandy, or even to you, Arka. And as long as two players or two states nominate and second you, you can stand for election. You do not need to be in the executive body for 4 years, 8 years, or whatever, or be part of any state federation for any time. You can stand for election as long as two states or two players are supporting you, two eminent players are supporting you.
Right. So I wanted to ask you, right, and I just want to take us back in time. How did we end up with this master arrest agreement? Because another agreement was clearly cancelled, it was canned, and we were in financial trouble and we were bailed out. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is the history of the AFF as it is publicly known, right? We again seem to be coming full circle, where if this agreement does get canned, right, the AFF might have to pay a huge penalty, right?
No, no.
Who foots the bill?
Okay, so
Okay,
let's come to that.
right,
So when they did this, they just didn't do it offhand. They actually sent the MRA in its totality along with all the minutes of the meetings. And by the way, someone was asking if I don't have the some copies only, so I'm gonna share the copies with you of the entire document I have to draw.
right.
So, so they were sent to a specialist, contract law specialist, and asked the legality of the MRA. They said that MRA can be challenged even in a district, small local contract law court. It will be dismissed because it is so one-sided that it goes against cartelization. It goes against Competitions Act of 2002 and 2007. Okay, let me read it out to you. I've got it here.
Yeah, because the one you posted on Twitter, that's minutes of the meeting, right?
Yes, yes.
About the 2040 thing.
So the first page is the MRA, which is the 25 page. Page number 25, that's just is very jumbled language, so to make it easy over the right parts. The other pages of minutes of meeting have nothing to do with this conversation. That's why I didn't put them. Otherwise, I would put them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that it's not strictly speaking legal, right? I know it's a little bit of a gray area. Like
No, I'll tell you why it's legal, because they're explaining what is in the MRA. So the MRA actually says all that, but says it in a legal language. So that's why
MRA doesn't have the 2040 thing, right? I know they have a right for refusal, but
right of refusal for 15 years. So they don't mention the date. It says 15 years. Yeah. Okay. So then one is the abuse of dominant position, which obviously they are doing. Okay. Then you have in the Competition Commission in the Act, you have. Okay,
so when is that MRA done?
You have something known as cartelization, okay? And then you have no enterprise or association or enterprise or person or association or person shall enter into any agreement in respect of production, supply, distribution, storage, acquisition of control of goods or provision to services which causes or likely to cause an appreciable adverse effect of competition within India. Okay, so this basically killed off every competition in India, and they did it openly. Then cartelization says that any agreement between competitors which seek to limit or control production, supply, or markets, or agreements between competitors which directly or indirectly have the effect of fixing and determining any kind of share or product price or market share agreements and allocation of market production rights. So all these things, they went to a lawyer and they said that this is totally against, and it is the moment they go to court, it's just because the MRA has never been challenged till now, the moment they go to court, it will be dismissed. Now, the good part about this is that it's already been done. For example, there was a TTFI, is the Table Tennis Federation of India. They also had a COA. Their COA was the ex-Chief Justice of JNK, a ma'am called Geetika Mittal ma'am or something like that. She went on to the Supreme Court and the judgment is on for 24th. They had a MRA, which was 100 times better than the MRA we have, with a company called 11 Sports. And the COA went to the Supreme Court with an application saying that this entire MRA is illegal and should be made void. So I am doing that and they're going to challenge it. Let them challenge it. So if they have to challenge this contract, they have to do it in contract court. And the clause of termination in CAS also, we have a New Balance versus Nike. It's a very famous case. Liverpool thing happened.
Liverpool, yeah.
They had the same kind of rights over everything which New Balance had, but Nike just matched that offer, and even with the match refusal, they had to give it to him. So now, in the MRA, it makes it so difficult for anyone to get it because it says after 2025, when they say, okay, now the whole point is, it's not just 75 crores, it's 25% net. Okay, that's another point. 25% of what?
Whichever is more, right? 75 crore or...
Yeah, forget it. I'm saying 75 crores nahi hai, but 25% of what? The total net revenue. Na? It will never be more than a certain fixed amount because the broadcaster owns this league. So 90% of the money in the world comes from broadcast revenue. We earn zero. 25 crores is what is given by them to Star Sports. That's it. And where do you think the billions of dollars BCCI gets comes from? Broadcast rights. Okay, let me tell you, because they don't have any money. Okay, we have 80 crores was the budget what the government used to give us 6 years ago. All the budgets of all sports federations in the last 5 years, I'm not kidding, go and check, have doubled. Ours has been made 5 crores. Why? Because of the mismanagement and corruption in the AIF. Okay, right. So that means the budget is there. It's not that the budget is not there. The budget is there. They've cut it down to 5 crores. If it's 80, it could be 100, 120, 150 if everyone else is up. Okay, FIFA gives us 30 crores, AFC FIFA. Okay, then if nothing also else happens, do you know that how much was Kabaddi sold for and who bought it? Star Sports. Kabaddi sold for 181 crores. 181 crores. You think we can't get more than 300 crores for football?
I mean, currently Kabaddi gets higher viewership. Let's be very clear here.
Okay.
Kabaddi gets
150 crores. 150 crores. 100 crores. 100 crores.
I honestly don't know because...
Okay, let me give you some numbers.
Let me be very honest. Right now, we are at a very precarious situation when it comes to viewership of football. Let me be very honest, right?
Yes.
That's point number one, right? Point number two is, you obviously the constitution says AFF should have the rights to the top league, correct?
Yes.
So
see what the people keep on saying, oh my God, they've given I-League preference. No, they've not. They've not given I-League preference. They've said the senior most league has to be owned and operated by them. Why? Because under the law, okay,
right.
Under the so this is a law.
Yeah, the national sporting federations should run their own.
NSFs are fully responsible and accountable for overall management, direction, control, regulation, promotion, development, sponsorship of the discipline for which they are recognized in the concerned international federation.
Right.
Within that constitution, 1.51 point, you have also written, provided that above functions / roles cannot be delegated or assigned to any other entity or organization. Wouldn't that be what ISL is right now?
No. Provided
for the promotion and delegation part.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure the sporting merit. So that's people are not understanding. What we want is promotion and relegation, but we want 20-team league. According to ISL, even in their master plan of Aage Jaake, they want to have only 16 teams total. 15 matches, 15 teams means 30 matches a year. You again never going to get there. Our development will start the day our top footballers are playing 50 matches a year. And we cannot wait till 2030 for our team to get that. Simple as that.
Let me play the devil's advocate. What is the AFF's track record in running a league? Let me just ask you, what is this obsession?
Total shit.
Absolutely, right? I'm not overtly excited. I'm not overtly excited with the idea of AFF running the top league.
Bro, my dog could have done a better job.
So you can get
without having.
you understand why I'm not very excited at the prospect of
Okay,
AFL
now,
joining the
okay,
league,
now,
right?
for example, now
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same way, I guarantee you, our country will be run so much better and everything will be so much prettier and glamorous if Adani or Ambani is made the president of India. It's beautiful. Let's just outsource that. Now, the moment that happens, yes, we will be very pretty. But when there will be concerns about national stuff, it will never be the national stuff taking the priority. Now, I'll tell you where that is coming from. It's very simple. Now, there's a camp. The FIFA window is there. We have a camp of 7 days. The coach has been saying it now. He said it loudly because he is not under the control of FSDL Reliance. That I have been controlled by them and I have not been allowed to talk. But let me now talk and tell you that we've got this way because of the ISL. Why? Not because of the quality of play and all that stuff. Because he doesn't get time with the team. And the time with the team is not decided by FSDL, it's decided by Star Sports, who's the broadcaster. So that's the problem when you have broadcaster owning the rights. They are looking at IPL. यार और something else, हमारी window इतनी है, but यार हमारी बीच में FIFA window है. The FIFA window. So you've got 7 days to prepare. Now 7 days. Suppose you would have one practice match. Now anyone who knows football and has been around football, for one match, you stop training 2 days before that. You just do finishing and 1 day just normal exercise. 1 day after that is recovery and 1 day after that is again normal exercise. So 5 days goes just having one match because you arrive on 1 day and you leave on the 7th. So that's what you go there for, one match before a FIFA window. Okay, look at our performance against the SAF in the SAF Cup against Nepal, Sri Lanka, who's ranked 205. Look at our performance. Okay, we didn't play great countries in the Asian Cup qualifiers, but look, they were much higher than what we played in SAF. But look at the way we played. Not because we're not bad footballers, we never given a chance, man. Our hands are tied behind our back. You put that team under the national coach for 2 months, you will get results. Simple as that. Because the players are there. But now what is happening? The players are only 35. Now, yes, the foreigners in I-League and ISL, this is a huge world of a gap, man, obviously.
Also just saying this, right, because the ISL teams pay more, the better players always, Indian players also go to the ISL,
Okay, so
right?
best 35. Best 35, na?
No, more, right? No, because you
No,
have
but the ones, I'll tell you, Arka, but the ones who are going to be selected are the ones who are going to get game time. ना against वालों को तो कभी बुलाएंगे, कैंप पे भी नहीं बुलाते. कैंप पे किसको बुलाते हैं? जिसको मैक्सिमम गेम टाइम मिलता है. एक टीम में 7 इंडियंस को गेम टाइम मिलता है. मैक्सिमम उसमें से जो पोजीशंस के हिसाब से 35 बंदे बुला लेते हैं वो. Now we are selecting our national team from 35 people. Now if we had 20 teams, that would be 70, and then if we have a second division, we would have 140 players to choose from. Trust me, the player at number 1 and number 140, not much difference in India. Indians, okay?
Agreed.
Absolutely agreed.
Yeah. So when you say that, then you're tying the hand of the coach behind him that you can only select from 35 players, you can only have 1 day camp with them. How are they now? How is FSDL bothered about our national team? If they were bothered about development, they knew that they had a contract till 2040. Why didn't they start developing it from day one? If they had spent money on the youth, now what did they do? When AFC came in and they said, okay, fine, you have to have under 13, 15, 18. All the clubs said, internal documents, clubs said, no, we're not going to do it, it's not in the MRA. So what did they do? They started paying each ISL club 2 crores a year. So they were paying 20 crores a year for ISL clubs to run their 13, 15, 18. How many players have ISL clubs together produced? 0. After paying them 20 crores a year for the last 6 years. Now, why didn't they spend this money on youth, on our grassroots, on our youth? Why do they have a youth development league only for under 21s of Reliance?
Some ISL teams have had youth sides for the last 5-6 years.
No,
I
not
should just
ISL teams. I'm talking about national. See, the point is,
right.
They need to develop. If they were really serious about the long term and development of Indian football,
Right.
They owned even I-League, na? They owned the rights of I-League. So they shouldn't actively try to kill somebody to get there. See, there's a very big difference. People say abroad also Premier League is owned and Spanish League is owned by them. It's a private company. Yeah, but it's a consortium of clubs with a single entity. They are members of themselves. They're shareholders. They're not owned by the broadcaster and somebody else.
So I think
it's
I
the
mean,
owners of the
ISL
clubs
teams
to
have-
form this company, right? It's the owners of the clubs to form this company, right? Why haven't they come out and do
No. These are franchisees who've come in after paying a franchise amount to them, and they're paying every year. That's in their contract.
Right.
So
I mean, if you look at it, right, ISL clubs probably did not spend it on the pyramid, but some of them really did invest
Yes,
in BFC for
yes.
example,
See,
right?
I think yes, definitely. I think
They've
see,
spent lots of their money go in the
I-
development, youth
ISL.
development.
So ISL is a huge boon to India.
Hmm.
ISL, if ISL dies, India will go back 20 years in football. Please understand what I'm saying. So there's a huge misconception there that we are trying to kill. No, we are not. All we are saying is the ownership of ISL has to be there. The
Okay, so
top league
in case that FSDL decides to pull out, like AFF tracks record in getting money and putting it front and center in terms of who's going to look at that?
yes. So now you in the whole
Because
point of
ISL
this,
exists only, FSCL, ISL is like
the
hand in
whole
hand, right?
point, see, the whole point of getting the COA in was to clear the corruption and the mess in AR.
Right.
You can't say after the corruption and they've done this job, you know who were the corrupt people. They've all been thrown out, and now the new thing is happening. How will you not let the new generation come and take a chance? As if you'll never give a chance to anyone.
Hmm.
How can you not give a chance to the guys who want to do work to come in and who actually want to do work? You can't just say because of the past, Hitler was there. And Hitler was there, so oh my God, we can't do anything. Don't we just give it to the US to run because Hitler was there. No, man.
Agreed.
So
Just
let's
saying, just
Mahatma.
saying, AFF doesn't have a very good track record of getting
No.
money also, of getting money, getting
Yeah, the
revenue
funds.
also,
So that was one
funds.
of the COA's things that at least the politician will be able to get those things from the government and from other organizations.
Right.
That's what the whole thing was, getting
Right.
politicians in. Also, one of
Right.
the reasons being used was they'll be able to see,
Hmm.
honestly speaking,
Hmm.
I won't want politicians in there.
Hmm.
But the general secretary actually or CEO should not be a politician. The guy on the top, I mean, I really wish he's not the same as Praful Patel because I spent more time than Praful Patel and Kushal Das in the last 10 years. In the last 1 month, I've spent in the air.
Hmm.
And that was because of time logs they have. And we calculated it. That's the kind of track record. Praful Patel has not been there for more than 30 hours in the last 10 years in the air house. So the new people who come in, and there'll be 36 players and 36 of these, you'll never be able to give them a chance then to see. After 10, okay, I'll give you an example.
Hmm.
Now, in 2010,
Hmm.
if somebody had come and told BCCI, okay, fine, and they had 50 crores in their account. How do I know that? Lalit Modi told me that in a meme today. That when I left India, they had 50 crores. 50 crores in the account. And they came up with this idea of the IPL. And if somebody had come and said, okay, I'll give you 500 crores a year, man. Give me the IPL for 10 years or 50, 30 years. BCCI would have jumped at it. Nobody would have said anything like nobody's saying right now.
Right.
They would have said, oh my God, there is no money in Indian football. Cricket. कोई 500 crore दे रहा है. Oh my God. They would have said that.
Hmm.
And now what that guy would have been doing. ये जो 50 करोड़ आया है ये के पास आता है रिलायंस के पास. तो रिलायंस ने क्या 50 करोड़ इंडियन फुटबॉल में डाला था 50,000 करोड़. They would have spent it on themselves, man. That's their profit. That's why they came into the thing. Simple.
So I think
But
the very,
like a
very
lot of
pertinent question, a very
Yeah.
pertinent question by namesake. He's asking, Orko Chatterjee is asking, are you saying AFF cannot have commercial partners in running
They can have
ISL?
commercial marketing partners and promotion partners and advertising partners, but they cannot have anyone who can take away any part of the control of the game away from them. Okay, now again, this is a national sports board. Now, if they had not made it mandatory and with proof that the Indian team will only be selected from the ISL, they would have not fallen foul. Now, what is happening is, according to COA, is a private tournament, which it is. That's where the Indian team is being selected from. And second, the champion of a private tournament is going and representing India abroad. That is what they're against. They're not against the ISL. They love the ISL. I love the ISL, man. Understand? See, all my players, I'm being honest, there is only my academy, na. So मेरे से लेते हैं player. I'll be stupid if I'm doing this. People are saying I have vested interest. मैं अपने पैर पे कुल्हाड़ी मार रहा हूँ. If I get ISL out, why? Because who the hell will buy my academy players? I'm not anywhere, man.
No.
Okay, so the reason is so that after 20 years, when my country becomes big in football, which we will, because Indians right now are already in the top 10 of every sport. Name it. In athletics, we are there. In table tennis, we are there. In badminton, now we are there. In boxing, we are there. In tennis, we are there. In hockey, we are there. Everything we are there, man, except in football.
In tennis, no. I mean,
Tennis,
I
no,
mean,
yeah.
look at
far away. We have nobody.
Grand जीत doubles में.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Yeah. But the
बहुत
rest of
सारे.
them, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm getting at. That means we're getting there in everything. But here we are so far from getting there. So people are actually thinking that this is a step backwards because now we'll go even further away. I agree with you.
But isn't it also like all of these sports that you looked at are individual sports? Team
No, no, no,
sports, only
hockey,
cricket,
no, 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 hockey, okay.
we just
This is my
lost in the
favorite.
Women's World Cup, finished 7th or something.
My favorite. Okay, so forget about the women. Just listen to this. My favorite argument is always supporting hockey. Now, in hockey, the same thing happened to football. What happened to hockey? In 1960s and 70s, we were world powers in football.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Okay, we were very, very good. Then the decline happened in both. Both of them went down, nosedive. Hockey came up. Why? We made 800 turfs in the country within 7 years. 800. So every college ground had a turf. They could pass. Why are Indians not doing well? Again, because there is no actual infrastructure being built at the grassroots. Where you have grounds, so my centre back, instead of bloody hoiking it down, don't blame him at all. Why? Because if I pass it to the guy 5 meters away, the ball will go this side, not that side, because the ground is so shitty. So that is why in hockey, now look at the countries. See, somehow the countries which do well in football do well in hockey. Nobody else. In Europe, who does well in hockey? Spain, Holland, then England,
Belgium.
Germany, Belgium. Okay, and then in South America, Argentina, Uruguay. In Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and if you don't call New Zealand also, even South Korea, Japan, but except India. It's not that we are not doing well. We are beating Germany men's team, Holland men's team, Spain men's team 6-0, man.
Right. Ranjit, let's just get back to football
Able to
quickly.
go straight up like this within 10,
Right.
15 years.
Yeah.
If you have the right structure at the place. Now, why I don't want to give FSDL another chance? Because they had their chance. They had us in their hands fully. They couldn't be more fully in control than they had us since 2010. It's 2022.
The AIFF, just to be clear, the AIFF, the guys who were supposed to implement all of their plans day in, day out, still had some of the same people, if not all of the same people pre 2010. Some of them have been there for a long time, right? So can we really blame FSDL because they never had a chance to fully get their personnel in? I'm just playing the devil's advocate here, right? Maybe I'm just saying maybe they did not have the full chance to get all of their people in because the AFF, right, has clearly, and we've also seen it in the past that, and we've heard it, both me and Sandeep have heard it, that they've also not been very happy with the way that the AFF is functioning, right? Let's just go back to the root of all the problems, right? AFF. Now, as a fan, I want to ask this of the COA, right? Why did the COA not define a pyramid? Because we are all tired of this whole ISL versus I League clash. We shouldn't have to discuss this, right?
No. They've said it very clearly. Why? They said because
but why not explicitly name the leagues? Why not explicitly say this is top tier, this is second division, this is the third division, right?
Naming the league is an administrative function, and the primacy of the leagues depends and may vary from time to time. So that AFF can take a structure on. What they've said, all they've said is the senior most league has to be having the principles of promotion and relegation.
Right.
The moment they say that, they've already created a structure below it. You understand?
Right.
That's a pyramid already. And the moment you have the state division, that means the I League, who's going to be part of the I League? The states, the champions of the states. That's 36. There's a pyramid already there in India. It's not implemented. So if every state now with the COA has to have your state league, imagine the number of players there will be. You state like UP, this is to get those kind of states out. State like UP, which is the largest population in India, which is more than the US or equal to the US. Look at the way they've not even had a league for the last 20 years. The COA has made sure that unless if this was there, somebody else would have taken over within 2 years. Somebody would have done work, shown work, got it. You're the new
Well, I
association.
agree with that because that was a point I saw in the constitution. I really liked it because 2 years, if you don't do it, you are going to be
Out. Because they
disassociated.
were saying 4, 5. I said, listen, 4 years the football dies of the state, man. What are you talking about 4 years?
Yeah, that's it's a very good thing.
My
Yeah,
purpose, I said 2 years has to be 2 years. Like first year suspension, you're allowed to participate. If you still don't do it, second year you're out. Then
yeah,
you have to audit all your accounts. Then you have to make sure that if you do not do every meeting of your minutes of your meeting or your elections or your AGMs are not put on a website or put give given to AIFF, they're still done. They're still thrown out. So this number of disqualifications there are above 70 you're out. If you've been there for more than 12 years, you're out. So they want to clean up the entire football. So the point is not see the AFC. You need to understand. AIFF is not the problem. The problem is the states. AIFF is a collective of the states. So if there are corrupt people in all the heads, they will obviously
Right.
have a corrupt head.
Hmm.
So the problem was the states are really fighting that you can't apply your rules, AFF rules to us. Because we have states is a sports is a state subject.
Right.
Whereas we actually put the entire national sports code in the constitution, and now they have to follow it. If they don't follow it, they're out. If they do not do their leagues, they're out. If they don't follow, they can't. And by the way, they can't be president of the state and the federation. So states want that also. Then I want to be president of Punjab and, for example, Punjab and AIFF. You can't do that. How can we prime chief minister and prime minister?
So
Out of 44 demands of states, they're so power hungry. 44 out of 44, nothing to do with football. All 44 to do with power, and we want more power, more representation, more power.
so wouldn't it have been better to somehow find a middle ground before submitting the draft? Now it stays, and there is talk
Yeah,
of
now it
FIFA
doesn't help
banning,
anybody.
which
Yeah.
I don't think FIFA ban is coming here until because we have the World Cup happening and
World
stuff.
Cup.
So
Yeah.
probably not going to happen now. But
I
at the
did
same
agree.
time, wouldn't have like some middle ground so that this many so both sides have gone and put a case, right?
So the states, no, both sides, the states and the FSDL and
FSG,
CCC.
yeah, yeah.
So and now the COA, the Supreme Court will look at it in this way. Okay, now what are the states asking for? Is it in something to do with the FIFA regulations which we are going against, COA is going against, or is it to do with something national sports they're going against, or is it to do with some personal gain? The moment they come to know it's all personal gain, they're taken care of. Nobody will be listening to them. They're talking about we want vice presidents, we want to have 30 years there, we want to have more power there, we want to have more people there, we don't want to have players there, nobody will be listening. Then, same thing with FSDL Reliance. Now, they're saying that we had an MRA before this time. All the CEO is saying that we don't have a problem with the MRA, but the problem is with this because after 15, 20, 30 years, this is going to get big. You cannot be paying the same money. Now, when they say again I've explained 25% of what? Broadcast revenues, 90% of revenues. That is why the English Premier League is living, or BCCI is living, or everyone is.
Yeah. So, did the COA give any timeline for the state affairs to fall in line with the constitution? Any suggestions so far, or we're just getting there now?
Okay, the COA has not even given this. So earlier they had a huge limba process. कि आपको 45 days लगेंगे पहले बुलाने में मीटिंग, फिर 45 days लगेंगे इलेक्टोरल रोल बनाने में, and then 2 months for this notice. So COS, and because Qureshi sir was there, he's been the chief election commissioner. So he says, I mean, the election of India takes place in 30 days. What the hell are you talking about, man? And he made the entire process within 30 days. And that helped with the FIFA deadline. So the whole thing was done to help that. That, if there will be no objection, nothing will happen. The moment the Supreme Court puts a thappa of this. And again and again, the CEO is telling the states, why don't you go and let it happen and amend whatever you want in the constitution later on, man? It's your constitution. And the same thing was told to FSDA Reliance. You control all the states, 35 out of 36 states are supporting you, man. So why are you going to court right now? Because if 34 or 36 states are in your control, then the guy who will come as the next president will get it amended.
Right.
Why are you states when all states are together and FSDL is also towards the states? Why are you going to court? The only reason now, what is there, if you go to court, you get banned because if the date padgi, you're gone. And Supreme Court, obviously, if you give a 570-page petition, which FSDL Reliance has done, and 300, 400, which they have done, that's what I'm worried about.
right?
So we
So,
had a question
so
from Rishabh actually.
sir, just
He's
point blank before that, right? What is a COA's pulse now? Are we on the verge of a ban, or are we confident that we are going to
Okay.
avoid a ban?
So no, I'll tell you before that. There's a thing where they've objected. FSDL objected to two main points of the COA. That use of a phrase that implements the principles of promotion and relegation does not depict the format of the ISL and cannot be accepted by FSDL Alliance. So they are against promotion and relegation out there. Then, consequential to the introduction of ISL, the I League may be replaced or discontinued.
what are you reading from?
This is from their contract MRA, which the COA pointed out to make sure that how can you be putting these things in, coming in and killing the cannibalizing and killing the existing structure. Merging is a different thing. Making sure in the contract you put after the introduction of ISL, the I League may be replaced or discontinued, and then they objected in the Supreme Court. Use of a phrase that implements the principle of promotion and relegation does not depict the current format of ISL. So they've actually put that they're against promotion and relegation.
So
So see,
what is the situation with the COA now? Now that you've given the draft, are you disbanded or are you going to continue?
no,
What
no,
is
no, no. COA is see that the Supreme Court order was a very detailed order, which was very different from other orders, which it said very clearly that your mandate is that you have to first of all do the day-to-day governance of AFF till the time you form a new constitution. You can take the help of the last committee, but the committee will hand over all the powers to the COA. The COA will make sure the constitution is made and submitted to the court within before 15 July or something. 21st July को date थी. Then the electoral roll has to be made, electoral college roll has to be made by the COA. Then the COA has to conduct the elections within 30 days of that thing going out and make sure the elections are conducted within the timeline given by FIFA, and Supreme Court is the same thing because we've already said 30 days. So the moment the thappa was going to be done, it would have been done in 30 days, dusted over now. But till the elections is done, the mandate of the COA lasts.
So in the
So,
constitution, there was a
just a
question
very
that was
important
asked.
question. One second, Sandeep. Just an important question, right? FSDL did agree with the AFC recommendations, right? A roadmap was agreed upon where there was talk of a promotion relegation. I'm just trying to help me understand this. So you're saying they've contradicted that?
So the AFC roadmap, what happened was the three members who were there in the I League who signed that, who was supposedly signed that document, supposedly who was still there was me and Blanca, who was from Churchill, and Praveen, who was from Gokula. All three of us told them that we never signed any document or agreed to anything. We were taken there for the meeting, and in the meeting we were told that this is the new roadmap which is going to be applied, and we said we will believe it when it is done. We don't believe all this because this has been going on for a long time.
Did you get it in writing? Did you get it in writing?
No, there's nothing given to us in writing. We saw it on the media.
Yeah, even in the constitution, Goa for FA has said that there was no such nothing was signed between I League clubs.
That's what
So
I'm trying to
what
say.
were we talking about in terms of roadmap? Like
This roadmap has
even the
okay.
I League clubs are saying we will get
In the
promoted.
Goa thing, they gave an annexure, okay, which I didn't even see. If 1st October, Kushal Das and AFC signed the roadmap amongst each other on 1st of October. The meeting between I League clubs, which is me, all these guys, we went on 14th October. So how come the roadmap was agreed on 1st October when we went on 14th October and we're supposed to have signed there on 14th October? So they got that wrong, and she had documents to prove it, and she sent it that there's no roadmap which has been agreed by anything.
Because I heard from other I League club members that owners and stuff that they haven't signed anything. So I constantly said this.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
why was there always this conversation of a merger? Why were people always talking, even I League clubs talking that there is a promotion chance?
Merger. So see, you're talking about if I League clubs have a say. I League
No, I'm asking. There was in
no, they didn't have a say. So अगर उनको अब इनको promotion मिल रही थी, you think we were going to say no, we want the whole thing.
No. What I was saying is, we heard this from I League teams also that we will get promoted in 2023.
There are only two teams who never said that. Who wanted to do that was Gokulam and Churchill brothers, because they were the ones who were originally there and affected them. The ones who just came in, They already came in knowing the system. So when CDC came in, the ISL was already there. Mohammedan Sporting came in, ISL was already there at the top. So it was not something that shocked to the system. Okay, nothing was taken away from this guys.
Yeah.
So
So you're saying Kushal Das is the one who signed the agreement about the roadmap with the AFC.
So
You guys had like no ID clubs had any say.
no,
No other people.
no, because we went there to Malaysia. We were shown around the AFC headquarters, given a presentation. We said a lot of things, and in fact, there we had long arguments how we are totally against all this, but there was nothing agreed to.
so you're saying AFC did not take the recommendations of the I League clubs?
No, not at all. In fact, not only of I League clubs, FIFA sent a 2-panel member meeting of Nick Crawford and one more guy who were
Yes.
guys.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
came and talked to all of us. Their recommendations clearly said that you have to have a merger between these two leagues because the league which has been there for 17 years, 18 years, keeping the football alive. So when they say, they spend so much of money, ISL, okay, you spend so much of money in 4 years. The I League clubs spend money for the last 20 years to keep football alive. What about that money together? So you just can't kill them. Even FIFA said merge the two leagues. You need more matches, more clubs. And everybody will be happy. All the fans will be together.
Right.
It will be a perfect merger. It will be perfect for everybody. Nobody will even know.
But
So the
if
bottom
Kushal
line is
Das
that-
signed it, wouldn't it be legal?
Yeah,
It's a
because
legal
Kushal
document.
Das wasn't he the authorized signatory?
No, he was not the authorized signatory of the clubs. He was the
But
authorized signatory
for the
of
AFF, for the
AFC.
AFF.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
that's
he
a
signed
legal
on
document,
behalf
right?
so he signed on behalf of the clubs, which he was not authorized to do. Because the clubs didn't want it. He was taking decision on behalf of the clubs. So he has just overnight.
So how come then?
Yeah, why didn't the clubs come out with it?
Why do you think I sold my club?
But like, why nobody said anything?
Yeah,
Was
he
there
said
a-
it. I was saying it. Go and look at my tweets.
No, you're fine. But
That's what I'm saying. I say it, but no.
no, but you sold the club, right?
Let me tell you that. Let's come to that one. Yeah, you to keep on saying it. See, that's the whole point. I'm the only one who fucking keeps on saying it, man. Nobody listens to me, and I've been saying it from day one. Tell me once when I've been proved wrong on any of my allegations. Any, not even one. Name one allegation which I've made, which is not a fact. Name one. From the very beginning, everybody says, "Oh my God, you're so scandalous." Yes, I'm scandalous, but when is it false? I'm the only one who has the guts to say it out on everybody's face because I have no bloody vested interest. And understand, somebody who can throw stones on somebody else's house is not living in a glass house himself. I'm living in a fucking steel bunker. Why? Because I live my life through my morals. You find one wrong thing about me and prove the allegation, and I will take everything back which I've done.
No, I'm just saying it seems
I'm just asking, like, because the
It's
AIF
paradoxical.
No, see, understand, guys, I've got a lot of hate
right.
for a league which is nothing to do with Indian national interests.
Right.
The coach keeps on begging them, give them longer camps and release the players. And the clubs have a way of doing it. They don't. And the Star Sports don't, and nobody says a word about it.
Right.
Then come on, you're not doing it for the country, now. You're doing it for your personal thing. Your product should be okay.
Right.
If you really care about the country, take 20 matches off the ISL, give him a 45-day camp.
Right. So wait, big question. Did FSDL then sign Kushal Das? We know he signed it, right? Did anyone from FSDL sign the agreement then?
No.
Okay.
It was an agreement between Kushal Das and them.
AFC.
So if the AIFF has signed it off with AFC, wouldn't that mean that they have to now implement it? Because it's a legal document, right?
Now, see, that's what the clubs who were in the I League thought. That, okay, fine, yeah, chalo, we'll just last till 2 years. Because then, though, at least there'll be promotion and relegation. Then there were rumors, which have happened now, and they were saying to the COA. COA point blankly asked them that whether you will do this or not. Because roadmap has come. They said, yeah, we were thinking of doing it, but we might not because of COVID. We've had too many losses. So we might postpone it for a couple of years.
Okay.
But we've actually taken 2 teams already. Mohun Bagan is being all the biggest team we've taken. So, now, how would you force them? How would you force that to happen? They already own everything. How do you force that to have more than number of teams till now? Because they said that by the start of 2019, they will announce everything openly. They will announce kaun karega. And by the way, and everybody is so shocked about it. The COA said that AFF will control it. In the roadmap, it says that AFF will have complete control and own the league. In the roadmap also, it says that.
Right.
So, 2019, nobody said that about the roadmap also. Now everybody's finding out, oh my God, AFF is going to have complete control. See, I know you guys, everybody, what do you guys, man? I am the biggest critic. All of you put together also didn't hate AFF as much as I did. Okay, I'm the biggest critic. So when I'm saying how you have to give people second chances, and when you're talking about people, you're talking about your country. It's your country's men who've let you down. You have to give your men another chance, not give it away to a private company to run. So we don't. So all the ISL clubs,
Okay.
the ISL clubs today are not there. Indian football will die that very day.
Let's talk about second chances, right?
So the
right.
clubs are not the problem. You have to understand. Okay.
Yeah, we absolutely understand.
No,
I saw you got a lot of hate.
All the
for the
clubs
Clubs are
comments.
not the problems. The clubs are not
All
the
the
problems.
clubs are losing. All the clubs.
30 crores.
All the
at
clubs
least.
are losing
Yeah.
money every single year.
They are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, who's making money?
Who is?
Star Sports. Because
How?
they get money. Because they get money. So
From
this is-
FSDL, right?
yeah, to run the league. So I mean, being a
They have to look
broadcaster,
after the production and everything.
you don't pay for the bloody broadcast rights.
Yeah.
You're willing to pay 180 crores for a kabaddi league, but you pay zero for this, and then you're taking 200-300 crores from FSDL to broadcast that league, which you
25
already
crore,
own
right?
25% of, and you
25
do, yeah, 40%, whatever.
But that may change in 2024, and obviously sports
May.
18, all of this is a indication that Reliance might do all of this in-house, because there is a sports 18 channel now, right? You can correct me if I'm wrong,
So-
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
that's the whole point. Now the whole point is that
Right.
may happen.
Right.
But if we know that if the money comes in and is in the control of the right people, in Indians, and we have it, why can't what happened in BCCI happen here? But if you don't give it a chance, then it will not happen, na? Because 2040 तक बेच दिया, तो नहीं आने वाले broadcast rights. किसके पास तुम कह रहे broadcast rights जाएंगे? किसके पास जाएंगे? Reliance
There
के
are
पास.
hardly 2-3 stakeholders, and let me be honest, the market's not overtly enthusiastic about Indian football right now,
Not at
because
all.
the Durand Cup was shown on Adda times last year. Let me say,
Not at
it's
all.
the oldest competition. It's
Yes,
the oldest
I'm
competition,
I'm
right?
saying the market is shit right now.
Yeah.
Same market was there for cricket for 2020, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Nobody thought this will happen.
I'm not even sure if Indian cricket got as less viewers for as Indian football does today,
No. See, I'll tell you, according to the viewerships they've submitted,
right?
the 300 million viewers of the ISL.
Okay.
That's what they have submitted to the court. That we've
I
increased the
mean,
views.
we have seen the concurrent views and all in the
We've
ISL
seen
games
the
and stuff. So
See, that's what I'm saying. Imagine now. Why? Because
maybe regional channels a little bit more.
understand what's happening.
Yeah.
The old function of rule and divide of the Goras is happening right in your home. They're ruling and dividing us, and they're ruling us. Why? Because they have made two sections. First, they had ISL and I League fans, and because Mohan Bagan East Bengal was there, they were saying, "Oh my God, ISL is getting overwhelmed. Get these guys there, so the majority of the fans come this way." Okay, so when that happened, now the fans are still fighting against each other. Whereas, imagine if all the fans get together as one. We need one structure. We can't have. See, the whole point is we can't have ISL alone. So if ISL had not touched I League and let I League clubs are not even allowed to put their own videos, to put their own highlights. They get matches at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. So aren't you trying to actively kill that league? Isn't that anti-competition? And who are you trying to kill? You are trying to kill who? You are saying two of these clubs will be promoted to the next league. Whose league? Their own league. So you want two very weak clubs from a very shitty league to come to your league as promoted clubs. Then you want two of your own clubs who are going to be relegated to go down to a shitty league, then thereby making them even more weaker. So unless you have a robust system, they should realize. So what happens? See, this is what happens with corporates. Corporates can't think beyond the picture right in front of them and immediate profits. They're looking at just the bottom line.
Yeah.
They don't look at development of football. That is why nobody's made a 2040, 2050 plan. Because countries in football have plans which are 20, 30, 40 years. And we don't. And they own football for 30 years now. In 2010, they knew that we have complete control till 2040. They still have not got a plan where they've done anything for our youth. See, I'm asking you, give me one Tata Football Academy. Do you think they should allow that to shut down? Just because the funds were not there, so they reported the
Hmm.
fund to Jamshedpur. Do you understand what is
But
happening and is
that's a
driving?
decision made
Yeah,
by
it was
Tata,
decision
right?
made by the club.
They didn't
It was
have to go
decision
to
made by the
ISL.
club,
True.
right?
Yeah.
Did you? How many academies have you formed, which run the whole year and for the good of the country? How many?
At
Let's
least
look at that. I think FC Goa
No,
for
no, no,
one.
no, not the
Bengaluru
ISL clubs.
FC also has.
No, 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 why not ISL clubs? I'm talking about
Okay.
FSG Reliance.
They
Because
have
they,
Reliance Youth. They have their own
Yeah.
oh,
academy.
they are doing that as they're playing the academy in as one of the clubs. Okay, they are selling those players on. They've sold 3 players to the Reliance people. So 2 clubs.
But
That's
even Indian Arrows is sending players,
Yeah,
selling
even
players.
Indianapolis does that.
Indian Arrows is sending other people's players. Okay, that's the other corruption.
Fair enough.
They've sold other players.
Yeah.
Okay, उसमें से 3 मेरे बेचे,
Yeah.
नरेंद्र के lot and Gibson and this, and I found they've paid. Listen to this. They paid ISL clubs have paid AIFF.
Hmm.
After paying AIFF from FSDL Reliance for doing everything, they have paid, and for running arrows, who's paying? FSDL Reliance is paying. Then they're producing players with FSDL Reliance's money and then they're selling it back to them. Okay, so they got really pissed off. But who are taking the players from? Academies like us. And then from that, they give 20% to different agents. That's the other corruption we found.
Look, a question, right? Question. Jaideep Basu tweeted about this. He said the money is being routed through some Gujarat club. He tweeted about it, right?
Okay, let me tell you.
Can
So-
we have the name?
Yeah. So what happened was they used the name of Ara. Okay. So we called up. I said, "What the hell, yaar? Ye to Ara ne player, mere wale player." Because I was there.
Just to confirm, this is Ahmedabad Racket Academy.
Okay. So we called up somebody who may have called up Ara. What the fuck are you guys doing? He said, "What are you talking about? We've not done anything. We don't even know who these players are." So we saw the address under Ara. The name is Ara. The address is of a Mumbai address. So we find that Mumbai address is a company registered under another company, which has got the same director, which is a shell company, 97 different companies. 16 of them have had dealings with AIFF. That company is also the same company Kushal Das's girlfriend is there in our country. So same thing. So that is other corruption we found and presented to him on his face.
Right.
Why do you think he's resigned?
But
So
no, I'm
why
just,
is there no action taken on any of these things? Because
yeah, the club, the club
all
in
three of us
question.
here know there is
No,
much
let's talk
worse
first.
things
Let's talk
happening.
about one by one. The action taken against Kushal Das was that before we could take action, he says, "I'm resigning on my this." First we told him resign because we found corruption against him. Okay, he said, "I'm resigning on personal health grounds." After 2 weeks, he said, "I'm doing that." So that's not ending there. The audit is going on. The forensic audit is going on.
Yeah,
They're going to find.
I'm saying definitely he didn't do it
One
himself. He didn't do it on his own.
So one second. So they don't follow signs. There are people who sign there and saying, "Oh, we signed because of Kushal Das." Yeah, that could have been possible. Your boss tells you to sign, you sign. Money levelize. So they're going to follow the money trail. किस सालों को पैसे मिले? And they've already found 6-7 culprits. They've not told us at all. They said we found a lot of shit which is going on. They've even taken his laptop and his.
Will the COA make it public? Will they make it public? Is my question. The culprit.
I'm there, man. I'll make sure it happens public. What's the whole point?
You
Okay,
understand that the
why do
fans
you
have a
think-
right to know, right?
Let me
The
tell you,
fans have a right to know.
Why do you think the Alex Ambrose thing came out? Because everybody was
Because
there.
I think some people wrote about it.
No. Agar no.
And let's face it, Abresh Mena wrote the story. I think she's
No.
the
I'll tell you what. The COA found it the same day. They said we want this. First, they had to report it to SAI because SAI is the rule that you have to report it to SAI and the government of India and all the legal action. The next day, a press release was sent out, and the head of the media department didn't send the press release out the next day. The next day, he was taken to task because of it, and that is why all the incompetency of the department, Snooker department, that is why Jaideep sir has been put there for this very episode. And he kept on. Remember when that episode came out, when the language came out once, saying that we have taken against the misconduct of this person.
Yeah.
They had given a very strongly worded shitty thing, this guy is this, and this guy should be this, and he just sweetened it up and put it up.
Who is this individual for the benefit of the public? For the benefit of the public, who is this
So
individual?
there is only one person in the media, okay, who's
fair enough.
oh,
So what I wanted to ask is, and I think the COA being the one running the show in AIFF right now, controlling.
So what's going to happen
Why
once
has it become very quiet? Whatever happened with Alex Ambrose?
The audit is going to come. Mark my words. People are going to go to jail. I guarantee you that. Why? Because the evidence found against them is so blatant, is so so open that they're going to go to jail. A lot of them are going to go to jail.
The enablers also. The
Indian
enablers also.
Huh?
The enablers also. You're saying.
Obviously. Then, where the Alex Ambrose thing is concerned,
Hmm.
Yeah, it's gone very silent after the initial thing. Like, what is happening there right now? Because
so what's happening there is
if he is going to put a case in reverse,
nobody cares.
he's probably got something up his
Again,
sleeve.
the CEO has got a Supreme Court judge there. So all the things we did were taken from legal advice has been taken from the best lawyers in the country. Because he just calls up the attorney generals and asks them for the best advice. That's why the contract law and MRA was said, that's why the MRA was done. Same way, the same thing. They advise exactly us what to do and get all the information in so that tomorrow the legal suit cannot be on us and there's no technicality this guy can get away with. Okay. Now this case is sub judice. The case is being taken to the police station. It's been registered there. Because it's a POSCO Act, they cannot reveal stuff to the public.
Right.
Not the case has been registered.
But there's a clear statement saying the report was submitted for his past misdeeds also. This is public record, right? So clearly this has been going on for years.
Yes.
This
Now, because it's been going on for years, exactly. That means this could have been fucking stopped, man.
This could have been stopped.
That means the guy who has put it under the carpet is as responsible as the guy who's done it.
So we will get to know all of these people.
It's a criminal case. There will be a criminal investigation. Dande maar ke nikalegi police usse.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So just to run through the scams, right? I think Jaideep sir himself tweeted about 3. One was the development fee. I think Ranjit, what we need.
Let's come to the new scam which I'll reveal today.
No, I'm just saying. Go on.
Sandy
Go
said
on,
yes.
Go on.
The master media scam.
Yeah, I was going to come into that. Yeah, the AFF masters.
The kind of conflicts of interest which are there. People who are working in the AFF right now are directors in the company in which this thing has been taken in. And not only that, the ones who are working in AFF are getting extra salary to go and teach there. And the ones who are actually teaching there, oh my God, you can't let them teach subjects, man. When you're taking 16 lakhs for that post, it's just daylight robbery. Okay, what they are doing. And Sandy, oh my God, I'm just saying it. See, this is what I am. I'll just say it. Doesn't matter I'm sitting in the AFF. That's why they hate me, man. They still hate me so much. See, you have to understand what I did. Okay, I am hated by AFF and each and every employee there. Then I am hated by FSG Reliance. Then I am hated by all the states. And I still have to stand there and say the right thing. Which does not, and which is going to be against all of them. And I can just sit there. I have no personal vested interest in this, man. I'm really hurt when people say, "Ye apne liye kar raha hai." क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं अपने लिए क्या मिलेगा इससे मुझे इनफैक्ट इट विल बी वर्स फॉर मी समथिंग रॉन्ग हैपेंस बिकॉज़ आप इट्स माय कंट्री व्हिच इज गोइंग टू गेट मैंने तो 2034 का वर्ल्ड कप मैच बनाया हुआ यार तो मेरी तो थिंकिंग वहां की तो आई टोटली गेट स्क्रूड एंड आई एम स्पेंडिंग 2 crore rupees from my own pocket on that patch along with 50 lakh rupees extra every year that means this year itself it's just going to be 2.5
Right.
so if I'm doing that I'm going to have losses of a massive scale
Yeah.
and
So there is a couple of
So
there are a couple of questions coming. One second,
Yeah.
there are a couple of questions saying.
I just have one more question on the scams.
FIR
I couldn't get you guys yet.
No, there are a couple of questions asking. Has there been an FIR filed against Alex Ambrose? Yes or no?
Okay, so yes, and why the numbers of the FIR exact can't be revealed is again apparently, and I asked for it. Apparently, under the POSCO Act, you cannot reveal any details.
Okay. So it is filed.
It's done. Okay, it's done. And by the way, if the police do not take action within the next 1 week, I will be tweeting directly. So I'll need everybody's help, guys. So I'll be tweeting directly to the DGP of Haryana that we've done this and there's been no action taken on this. We want action, so everyone's then.
Okay. Sorry, just a question, right? So there are three potential quote unquote alleged scams. There's the masters, there's the development fee, and there's the astrologer, right?
And more. I'll tell you more.
Yes, go on.
Okay.
I was going to come to that, yeah.
So states were given loans from already a bankrupt AIFF and maaf karo those loans. 2 states who benefited, 3 crores was given as loan to Bengal, 2 crores was given as loan to Maharashtra, and they were maaf karo those loans into general meetings after that.
What are the rationale for these loans?
There was no rationale. They said they asked for the loans and Praful Patel approved them.
Isn't Maharashtra like one of the richest bodies.
So is Bengal. The only tourist bodies there are in India is Maharashtra and Bengal.
Karnataka, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but
Hmm.
Karnataka is anti-Prabhu Patel. Na?
Okay. Okay. No, no, that's fine. I also want to
Fair
ask
enough.
this.
I mean, we
I'm,
know the
I'm just
ones who are
I'm just
anti
going to ask this
President
point
Patel.
blank.
Yes.
Who are the states creating trouble, and can we just can
See, I'll tell you, all the states who are going and trying to go there for their personal stuff when they know they can very easily wait for the constitution to come in and they can amend it. So the thing which will not affect them in a direct way. So, anybody who's wanting to stand for president and doing it, so I would say Shaji, who's motivating everybody else to do this, and then
Shaji came on the show and said he would be interested in running for
becoming
that role. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
uh,
So again, the moment you say that, there's a conflict of interest.
hmm,
Then you're not representing the states, you're representing your own views because you want
okay,
to be president.
okay. Who
So
else?
wouldn't it be difficult for him to, like, it's not a paid position, right? The AFF position.
So what he says, okay, is
Yeah.
one of these things. Now, AFF president should be a 24/7 job, and there's some professional presidents in the world like Saudi Arabia and one more nation he took away, where presidents are full-time employees of the federation. And I aim to bring in professional changes.
Okay, okay. Who are the other states who are actively
Not
creating such?
creating problems, they've got their own issues. So basically, Bengal, because Subrata Datta is trying to get his own thing in because he wants to be president as well. And he's been there for 16 years as senior president. Now he wants to come in as president.
Hmm.
And he's the old body of remnants of the past
Hmm.
which are there.
Hmm.
And that's why he's been there for so long, obviously.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then from the south, I don't know if Harris will stand or not. The Karnataka,
Huh.
because
But
he's a-
apparently, Karnataka, Kerala, and Delhi were the three states who initially stood up in the AGM.
Yeah, Karnataka
And,
was
So let me
one.
come back to
hmm.
our presidential candidate Shaji.
Hmm.
So in this, see, the point is that there was a time where around 6 months ago,
Hmm.
he had given a statement where he said that Praful Patel should be given the Indian Bharat Football Ratna.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, here and said he should
He,
not
he
have
came
done
on in
that.
the show and he accepted that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
He
And
accepted
then
on the show.
AFF came out with a clarification saying Football Delhi President Shaji Prabhakar's proposal to award an Indian Football Ratna to AFF President Mr. Praful Patel has not been accepted by AFF and was neither endorsed by Senior Vice President Mr. Datta and the AFF. The AFF feels it's merely a thought process of an individual. They took out a statement to be anti. So now, 6 months ago, you had such great feelings for the president.
Hmm.
6 months after that, you are saying, "Oh my God, it was the worst president ever." So where were you in all the meetings which took place when you were the president?
Right. Right.
See, I don't believe talk. I believe action.
Right.
I still have respect for Harris. Why? Because he stood up in that meeting and he was the only one who stood up and said all those things to Praful Patel.
Yeah.
There was only one guy who said it was Harris. Okay? There was nobody else.
Right.
Other
So
than that,
who are the states? You said Shaji
so
made
see, the ones who are following blindly are Punjab, who
Hmm.
doesn't just sit in the executive committee member. Then you have Gujarat there, who I'm talking about the executive committee members who are there. Then you have Odisha, which is in the executive committee, and then you have Karnataka.
Hmm.
And this 7-member committee has been formed by just being with each other. It's not a democratically elected committee.
Right.
So
Right.
what
But to be
are the
fair,
rest of the states?
to be fair, there are some people who have done good work. Mizoram, for example, Tete Hamar,
So
right?
Yeah,
I think he has done brilliant work. He's shown what can be done without resources in a small, far-off place, without sponsorships, and how much you can promote the game. I think one of the best football administrators, if you judge him on the kind of work he's done
Hmm.
and the kind of reputation
Fantastic.
he has for
So,
being.
so why is nobody pushing somebody like him for a presidential?
Can you believe that I asked him? Okay, I asked him. I said,
Okay.
bro, will you please run for president? I will support you fully. I'll make sure everybody, whatever I can get, supports you. Please run for president.
Hmm.
Because the only person, I'm not kidding, the only person I can see who's done work in front of me is him. Who's
Yeah.
done so much work himself. And I've seen where Mizoram was and where Mizoram is now.
They were nowhere. In 2012, they were nowhere. They were nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's done a spectacular job, and nobody can deny what he's done for that team.
True.
Yeah.
True. See, somebody like that coming in,
Hmm.
and that will be great. So, because he will know he's there for the right reasons.
Hmm.
He's there totally for the right reasons.
So this 7 member that they formed. What about the rest of the states? Did they have any chance to speak to the COA? Did you guys have a
Yeah, so
conversation with
some member states like UPK, opposite parties came,
them?
the ones who were the ones who've been troubled by them. JNK's opposite party came, the ones who've been actually, who's got players and current people in, instead of somebody who's been there again for the last 20, 30 years. And then Goa came, that means Balanka from Justin Brothers, and Goa Football Association, the secretary, he came. Then other than that, no states came. These 7 guys came, and these 7 were representing everybody.
Right. Just for the popcorn stuff, right? So if Shaji does run, who's likely to stand
See,
against
we
him?
don't know now. See, if the constitution is approved,
Yeah.
then you might have a player standing against him as well. Because of,
Okay.
I mean, see, I'll tell you what the constitution has done. Huh? So
Right.
36 states, 36 players.
Okay.
36 players also have one vote each.
Okay.
Each player is from a state. For example, from Punjab, it will be the highest number of internationals played by that state. So suppose it's me. So
Ajingan, for example, right?
so
Ajingan, for example,
Jingan can't do it because he's current.
he's an active player.
Yeah,
He's
so anybody who's retired for last international 2 years ago,
okay.
and then an affidavit has to be
Oh, so
given.
he can still play in the ISL and not play it in the national.
Yeah, but he has to give an affidavit and not be an international anymore. So yeah,
Right.
he can do that. So
Right.
he can still do that. He can still
Right.
be playing for other clubs as well and still be there. So people like, for example, Sanju Pradhan or Nirmal Jitri, but they are not going to be allowed to because people in their state have much more.
And the states nominate the players, right? Just to clarify for
No, they don't. It is according to the, suppose Sandy has 80 internationals, Arka has 70, Ranjit has 60. Sandy automatically is the number one choice for the, unless he says no. And he's below 66.
Okay, but is that the wisest choice? I'm just asking, is that the best choice?
No, it's not the best choice, but it's the choice which will make sure the states don't have a say in it. The other way, the correct way of doing it was the State Players Commission, where the players amongst them vote and find out the best. Okay, but because FIFA said you can't do that, you can't make another commission and do that, then we came back to this, that it will be according to the list. So isme kya hoega that you can't stay there for more than 2 terms. Then the next guy comes in, then the next guy comes in, then the next guy comes in. And then they say, na, what about some states who will not have any votes? Yeah, but there will be at least 5 or 6 states. So what happens is we are forcing them to improve the game of their state so much that they get internationals. Simple as that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I see. So my point is this, right? My point is again that of the players, but we'll just move on from that, right? So you are promising us the COA will make every action of its public. It will be
public to the fact that AFF administration, so the 4 people who could protest or give suggestions were AFF administration also. AFF administration, or at least legal department, on at least 20 different pages had said, we don't need to put this on our website, we don't need to. So in one say, he says, wherever you put this comment that we don't need to put it on the website is the place you should put it on the website.
So you're saying that objection came from the AFF's legal department, you're saying?
That we can't keep on putting this on the website, minutes of the meeting, this, that, the tenders, this and that. He said everything. So all now you have to, everything will go through tenders and open tenders.
And this is the AFF's legal counsel Gursimran Brar at this point.
No. This was not from Gursimran Brar as per se. It was a comment there. So I didn't know. Okay, वहाँ पे लिखा हुआ था comment.
So who's the legal committee currently? Just asking.
There are 3 people in the legal department. There are this Gursimran Brar. There's a guy called Akshay, and then there's Komodu. There's a lady called Komodu. But it's basically, see, I'll tell you, AFF legal department is following what the old practices were there, and if they're being told by something to do with FIFA. Other than that, they are just legal minds. Obviously, see, if you've been there for 20 years, Simran Baraz is not, he was in AFC, FIFA and all that.
Okay.
Anybody who's been there for 15, 20 years in AFF is indoctrinated to think the way they are.
Okay.
So can COI take action against the current staff in AFF if found guilty?
So all they have, do you know how many employees they have total?
In AFF?
We know it's a shrinking pool all the
I
time.
don't know.
Yeah, no.
They have 160 employees.
Okay.
And they have 57 permanent employees and they're 100 on contract.
Okay.
70 of the employees or contracts have been given after 2010, 2021 December, 2020 December, whatever, which is supposed to be illegal. So once this happens, the CEO will be going and revisiting and talking to all the people who deserve to be there, because we feel that some
Hmm.
of these things are not supposed to be the kind of money which is being spent on
Right.
things
Right.
is just so
But
wasteful.
let me just talk committees, right? Because it seems what I have heard at least, that a lot of committees are actually skin bare or don't exist. For example, women's committee has been disbanded. I think
Okay,
registration.
so see, I'll tell you what are the good things about the CEO.
Right.
So in the women's committee, they formed a women's committee. They said, why was it disbanded? Because they said, oh, we had somebody and we didn't want to have. I said, what
Right.
is wrong with you? We have to have a women's committee. So
So
they had
have
a
they
women's.
reinstated a women's committee? Is who is it currently?
नहीं अभी तो बनाएंगे ना नया कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन सारी पुरानी कमेटी सारी रद्द कर दी है
Okay.
ये विमेंस कमेटी ही नहीं थी ये नई कमेटी बनानी पड़ी है कि ये कमेटी होनी चाहिए कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में
Hmm.
they had made it this thing that doesn't exist
They had
only.
removed it. Yeah, they removed it. Yeah.
So women's committee, referees committee. Now in referees committee, the
Hmm.
law of FIFA says, and they don't
Hmm.
follow it, that the senior most member of
Hmm.
international referee, all
Hmm.
members have to be international referees.
Ha ha.
The senior most referee, like Perugia Kaluna was with FIFA, he became
Ha.
the senior most
Ha.
referee. He became head.
Ha.
That has to be. It cannot be nominated by the exco because that guy will.
Who is the white man that Jaideep was referring to in his tweet? Who is the white man that the AFF wanted to appoint
Oh,
to the referees
oh,
committee?
oh. So this is another thing they found.
Who's the guy?
They were
Yeah.
going to spend one point, I don't know the name, they were going to spend 1.5 crores on some white guy who was going to come and teach our referee something. For that, he needed two assistants, one driver, one manager to stay with him, and 1.5 crores. Okay. And do you understand that you can hire 150 referees at 1 lakh a month, one complete month, 1.5 crores?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, or you can send them on education trips,
Hmm.
or you can send them each abroad and come back with 1 month.
Whose decision was this?
This was because FSDA was going to give half the money,
Okay.
and the AFF was forced to give half the money. It was an FSDA decision. FSDA wanted to do this. Then they sent letters on later on that if you don't, that guy has already left his job. Now, if you say no to this, then we will not give you money. So they were sending threatening letters to AFF that we will not give you money and we will just cut it from the money we're going to be
So
giving.
just generally asking here because FSDL seem to be giving it like all the things you've said, giving so money to AFF, giving money to Star Sports, giving money to clubs to run their academies, giving
Yeah,
money to this.
yeah.
So they are spending so much money.
They have spent. I'll tell you. They have. So I'll tell you now. So this is what people think that they're spending. Now Sarthak, um, there was a boy called Sarthak Mandal, and he did a.
Yeah, he wrote that
Yeah, he did
paper. Yeah.
a
So
PhD on
we
this. Yeah.
came to know in even Bridge carried their article 777 crores. So they have just collected from franchise fees, man.
Hmm.
And what is the spent?
How much
Yeah.
they spend?
They have given back to the clubs around 500 crores. So there's a deficit
But
of
they
two.
spent on the AFF also. They also spent on
Yeah.
the AFF also.
So
And to
now,
start.
no. So I'll tell you now. See what's happening. Now, for how many years they've got it? Why do you think they're now fighting for this very badly? Because this was their investment period. And now, for the next 20 years, is the time where they were going to start really earning very, very big money. So now it's not about being fair or unfair, it's about what's wrong with the country. If it was a private contract between two companies, man, it's fair. Contract is a contract. But when it's a national team involved and it's directly affecting your national team, and it's all decisions around your team are being taken with marketing and commercial aspects in mind, it's wrong. The size of the league is because of marketing. Oh, क्यों नहीं increase करनी 20 तक यार? Oh, it will increase it to 7 months and we can't afford it. So we don't want somebody who can't afford it. We don't want 8 channels. We don't want 8 channels. You understand? People keep on saying we want 8 channels HD. No, we don't. We want a league which lasts for 10 months so our footballers can improve, man. If it means not having 8 channels HD, let it be. But our footballers will only improve if they get 10 months of football and 8 months of a league.
Okay,
Like,
question.
That
Are the
absolutely
are the
agree on
clubs
that part.
are the clubs against this? Because it seems to me that it's a huge logistical expense.
yes, if it's 18 crores a year, you have to pay as franchise fees. You cut that out and ask them, okay, forget about the 18 crores, but you play a 10-month league. They'll all jump on it.
Okay.
Fair
Okay,
enough.
what does Sunil one day? What to forget the clubs? Who matters more? Players matter more, na? What does Sunil Chetri, Gurpreet Sandhu, Sandesh Jingan, everybody keeps saying? We need more games, longer season, more games, longer season. Coach keep on saying longer game, more season. Simple
So
logic.
is FSDL making any money at all at the moment?
No. No, they're not. But the amount they're losing comparatively in the scheme of things is peanuts. Because what they're expecting to make after 10, 15, 20 years is huge, huge money
Okay.
if it hits the bullseye. But if it doesn't, and they keep losing this money, it's not going to make a difference to them. Because the amount of investment is not like IPL and ISR and BCCI. It's a very small amount for them. But for them, it's a small amount. For India, it's a lifeline and bloodline. Now, people say, keep on asking him where the money is going to come from. If you organize one FIFA friendly and you hype it properly, you can sell tickets for 3 crore rupees for one match if you have a 1 lakh stadium.
Okay.
So I just, now you brought FIFA friendly. I just occurred something in the constitution. It is written that if you bring, FIFA delegated teams to India, you will pay for their,
Yeah,
whatever
because
logistics.
FIFA
Why is that a AIFF thing?
regulations. We objected to it, but they said FIFA's regulation says that you have to put it in. So
But nobody pays for a team to come and play, right?
no, they do. By the way,
Yeah,
all teams which come here,
yeah.
we are supposed to pay for them, and that is why we don't like.
No, not the stay and stuff, but anything extra? No, right?
No. You know, it depends on the country. Suppose you have it's between federations. Suppose you go for a higher country and you're a lower line country. For example, if you want to play a European country, they'll ask for $2-3 million appearance fee. You can
Sure.
play with
Yeah.
Spain today. You can play with Spain today. You can play with England today. Give them $10 million, they'll come here. You give them 20 million, they'll come here. So I'm saying, if they want it, the money should have been spent here. अगर ज़्यादा पैसे हैं, खर्च करो, बुलाओ इंग्लैंड को खिलाओ, जर्मनी को खिलाओ. कितनी तुम एक काम करो, stop calling bloody clubs. You know how many countries have you called top class European nations to make India play against?
No, but the question is, why would they play us? Why
Yeah.
would they play us?
Once again, before 2000, do you know how many international top 10 countries visited us?
We had the Nehru Cup, we had the Merdeka Cup back then. We had all the tournaments back then, right?
And these
But
top
now,
countries.
we have the Intercontinental Cup.
Now, what
But,
are the,
our,
but that is all shitty countries. I mean, no disrespect, but compared
but
to,
I'm saying our profile isn't big enough to
yes,
get those countries. Let me be
yeah,
very
it
honest.
wasn't. But in 90s and 2000s also it wasn't. When Baiching Bhutia was there, our profile was crap, man. We were still hundreds.
Yeah.
We were still able to get the big names here.
Because we were living off the end of a legacy. We were living off the end of a legacy, right?
But see, the point is that if you see other small countries not being able to play big countries, it's a different thing. But there's so many small countries who go and play with giants, man. Every day you see friendlies. Gibraltar has bloody played 5 nations, man. Joel Williams keeps on eating my head because of that. Have you played 5 nations? You played 5 nations. You know, they keep on playing because, yes, they are a European nation. But it's this much. So it's just about getting out there and asking for stuff. For example, I'll tell you what happens in AI. So I came to know, I said, why now this is going to happen again, by the way. September mein FIFA friendlies hai. So what a federation should have done, not for this friendly, or even the next friendly, already written to every federation in the world.
Okay.
I guarantee you, and I've been told, I guarantee you, whenever this exercise was done, we should get at least 10 invites and 10 people who want to come to us. Then we have to just select. The incompetence of AFF is so bad that they just don't do it. And nobody forces them to do it. Who's the one who's supposed to force them to do it? FSDL Reliance. They're supposed to force them to do this. Then do this. Why? Because it's going to affect the national team. Why don't
But
they?
why would FSCL? Why not AFF take the?
Yeah, why should
initiative?
AFF take the initiative?
People want to now do what do they do? They fix a friendly with the team and make them have one match and lose 6-0 and then the whole public plays them. You don't 6-0 क्यों आए हो UAE से?
Wait, it's UAE.
US UAE, yeah.
भाई 11 लाख की पॉपुलेशन है उनकी एमिराटी पॉपुलेशन 11 लाख की. Come on, man.
Their level is much higher, no? UAE.
Yeah, I mean,
No, it's not. It's not higher. Okay. Now that age, yes.
Exactly, yeah. At senior level, yeah.
But at the junior age, it was not, and 5 years ago, it was not. 5 साल में क्या हुआ? Okay, go and see the results of UAE in the last 20 years when we were not big.
I mean, Vanity was telling me a story about Omura's Japan team as an age group.
Japan,
They
yeah.
lost 2-1. Then senior level, they lost 7-0.
7.
So this difference always happens when you go from junior to senior because we don't play enough games.
And
Long time.
Hey! What did you say? Because why? What
We
happened?
don't play
we don't
enough
play
games.
enough
We
games.
don't have the development.
Because we don't play enough games.
Yeah.
How do we play enough?
So this is not a new problem, right? This is always
Yeah,
happening.
exactly. So what is the CEO trying to do? because it's not a new problem. We're trying to solve this age-old problem of we're not enough playing enough games by having 20 teams and having them now. Because the development will start when, like Sandy says, when we start playing enough games. That will only happen when we have a 10-month season. That can only happen when the rights are taken away from a commercial body, and that doesn't decide when how long our season should be, or how much time we should get before a national team match,
Okay.
or how much control the national team coach should have.
Has the COA reached out for September then? Have they reached out for
So,
20
so,
teams?
so the CEO has hands are tied. They can't even extend the. So the coach was wanting to actually get us first with the Kerala Blasters playing there, which is a great idea, playing in that place, and after that going for 2 friendlies, and it's in the pipeline. Now, if this all happens on 21st, the next thing they've said we have to move on this, and we're going to be playing 2 big countries. But hopefully this happens and this doesn't take us off the track.
Right.
But there's no point because
Also,
yeah.
there's another question.
But the countries we're going to play, even though they're not that much higher ranked than us, they will
Right.
thrash us
Yeah.
because the calendar has already been set. Been set by whom? Not by AFF. It's been
Okay.
set by FSDU Reliance, not by FSDU Reliance, by
Right.
Strasbourg.
Right.
Okay, and that is given for both the FIFA event is 7 days.
Right. Right.
And that's going to destroy us. What's the point of even going and playing? There's no point.
Right. There's another burning question which I'm just going to ask. Because he's been sending out feelers. Igor Stimac has been sending out feelers regarding his contract extension, and
Yeah.
that's up for extension in September. So
Yeah.
I have a feeling that the COA might have to take a decision on this and may not have.
So I'll tell you what. So they were first leaving it till the 21st.
Okay.
See, anything the CEO says, anything the next committee can come and decide over, which has not got to do with the eternal concepts of governance and principles, they should come and take a call over. So it's the renegotiation of the contract because you can't just renew it. And they can't just say, okay, we'll give you a 10% raise. There's no one to say it. Is the new democratically elected body which is going to come and say whether we're going to elect it or not. Now, the problem there is that in September, if you don't renew it, which my personal feeling is that I don't think this is a time to change your coach.
Yeah. A
At
lot of
all.
uncertainty, right? Yeah.
Oh my God, it will be the worst thing. Why? Because you say, oh my God, we'll get you a better coach. Doesn't matter again, no matter which coach you get, and if you give him 5 days, इस बंदे को at least पता तो है कौन सी position पे कौन खेलता है, who plays where, and how somebody has done over the last 2 years. You're going to bring it back to zero again. Already the coach doesn't have any time, so only the time he has had, you're going to bring a new person in. So you can never do that. You have to have the continuity to take what he has planned till the Asian Cup.
Okay.
And decide on the performance after that and let it be to the new body. But if suppose this constitution comes in tomorrow and says this election, then they'll have to take a decision immediately to renew the contract because then it's in their hands. Otherwise, if it gets delayed,
So if the Supreme Court takes time to decide, so CEO will continue to run AFF, right?
Then his contract
He will have to
lapses,
make a
right?
decision.
Yeah, his contract lapses in September.
then they'll have to, or his contract lapses. And in fact, in football, you start negotiating or renegotiating 6 months before the contract is over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he might be.
I mean, that's what I was like.
It
If
should have
you,
already been done. So it's now listen. No matter what people keep on saying, you've got to give it off to the guy. Igor Stimac can definitely just walk away, and no action can be taken against him. He can just get an offer, and that offer can say, "We'll give you so much more," and if from day that you leave, and he'll leave, and you can't touch him. He'll be right to do that. In fact, in law, but
Absolutely.
you brought it on yourself. So it's again, if you care about the national team, what should have FSDL done? Okay, fine, because see, they don't have the power.
but why FSDL?
Why? Because they okay.
AFF makes decisions, right?
No,
For the national team.
bhai, no. The entire thing. Okay, so we came to know that Nilanjan Datta.
He said the name.
He said the name, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so Nilanjan Datta used to be telling him exactly what to say and what not to say, and every time he used to come out with a comment which was against FSDL Reliance. The next day he used to be told he can't talk to the media. Nilanjan Datta used to get only those accredited media people inside who used to be able to control their questions and give their questions to and to the particular people. Every time, for example, once the Igor Stimac came out with a statement saying that anybody who has an Indian passport, I'll be looking at all leagues and all. Next day came out. Next day, the statement came out. It's not his statement, by the way. It was just planted there, said by him, and he was told to agree to it. that people who play only in the ISL will be committed by me. So people who have dreams of playing for the country better get your ass up to the ISL. So these kind of things happening, and you say that they have control, they have zero. AIFF has zero control over anything. So what did they do? What did AIFF do? They just give up. They gave up so badly that it became. And by the way, people think, it's because they're corrupt. No, it's because they have become so incompetent. I can count in my hands the number of people who are efficient in AIFF. And I mentioned so many names, 166.
Who are the efficient people? I think because we always criticize them. I think the public would like to know who were the
Yeah, I don't want to take any names, especially because then I'll be getting favorites.
Okay.
So I don't want to do that. But
okay.
I'm telling you, and I'd say it on their faces, and I'm saying it on their faces. I say it on their faces that half of you wouldn't have got jobs anywhere else. Man.
Also, question, because you mentioned committee, right? And there was a comment made before India's AFC qualifiers, right, by the head of the competitions committee saying we won't even get 5,000 people, right?
Okay, now let's come to that. See,
Okay.
now when you say, okay, oh my God, we've seen AFF, they're so crap. You're trying to bring in the new people, new change. Now imagine if somebody like a COA, who are three of them are 70 plus, can come up with this. That means the old people there were so bloody incompetent. And these COA don't know anything about football. Okay, they come from a fresh place, and the first thing they do when they see this comment, they say, what is the capacity of the stadium? They say 1 lakh. The government is allowing how much? 60,000. Next day, they say issue 60,000 tickets. So they come to know that even after they've told, again, same department. So that 50,000 tickets have to be there. They distribute 33,000. And the COA actually sent a person from here all the way there. Excuse. कि तुमने क्यों बोला 5,000? कहता सर आपको पता है कितना ठप्पा लगाना पड़ता है टिकट पे, कितना देर लगता है? मैं कहा तुम अभी भी ठप्पा लगाता है यार? कहता नो गवर्नमेंट का रूल है. तो मैं कहा okay fine. So what we did was the last day, all the junior media people who were coming in to get accredited, they were saying okay accreditation चाहिए ठीक है यहाँ बैठो ठप्पे लगाओ. So all the media journalists were making ठप्पाs for the public on the thing so that they could distribute tickets. Now imagine, I'm not kidding. We won the match against Afghanistan because of the crowd. We won the last match such a wild way because first when we underscored and then we just demolished them because of the crowd. And the COA said, and even they know, man, what is the point of having a home match when you don't have home advantage? You just nullify it. And that 12th man made us that 1-1 and that 2-1 against Afghanistan. People don't realize that, how big the crowd, what momentum in football is. Momentum is such a thing in football. You can be looking good in one thing and the next minute you can be looking so shit just because the momentum is too much.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to ask,
build up this property and buy FIFA friendlies. Why have them then? We can have these matches more often if we could. And look at the kind of places we can have them in. Kerala, we get 1 lakh people every time. Calcutta, we get 1 lakh people every single time. Every single time. So why not go there? Okay, imagine if you go to these places and have 4 FIFA friendlies in a year, which you have 4 windows for, or you have 2 tournaments where you have 6 teams coming in, like we used to have the Intercontinental Cup. The amount of money you can just earn from gate sales is 16 crores to 20 crores. Just from gate sales. I'm not even talking about broadcast rights.
Right.
People are talking about, 20 teams in the first division paying, instead of 18 crores a year, 1 crore a year participation. You get 50 crores just from that. Then from sponsors, then from media, then from FIFA friendlies, then 30 crores you get from the FIFA and AFC, then 100 crores apparently you get from the government if you're doing everything right and which other sports are getting, then why not football? They will obviously be not single us out. So imagine if you can get over 250 crores without hitting a finger.
Just help me out here, Ranjit, for all the fans, right? Why don't you make this plan on and put this on Twitter so that everybody can follow your train of thought easily? I would suggest that for everybody.
We're talking about the financial plan.
Yes, the financial plan.
Because a lot of the questions we are seeing and a lot of the questions even I've heard is, where is the money going to come from if
okay, so there will be a transition period, but because the clubs will not be lost, the market value of those clubs will not be lost. You have to understand. If the clubs are not lost, you mean to say Kerala Blasters tomorrow, if ISL shuts down, they're going to shut down? No, man.
Look, I can't say anything because you've seen so many clubs.
I guarantee you. I tell you. So I'll tell you who will never shut down. Kerala Blasters will never shut down. They will be lasting for 100 years or more. Why? Because they are like now as big as Mohan Bagan's Bengal. They'll
Huge fan base.
Why? Exactly. So the fan base has kept these clubs alive when there was nothing in Indian football for 100 years. Mohammedan Sporting was still having nothing and still they've been kept alive. That means for 100 years they were not even participating in the top leagues. They've still been kept alive because the fan base. So Kerala, then Bangalore, for that matter, and and any club which comes in with this kind of a fan base and community support will last for a lifetime. So their brand value is already made. So when people were sharing my video of me saying what is the ISL without these three clubs, what I meant is if these three clubs are taken out, the fan base goes, and if you take Kerala Blasters out, now I'm asking you what is there. So when I mean is the fans, understand the fans make the game. And if you don't, okay, then so FSD's rules are you can't have two clubs from one place. Why? London can only have one club. Manchester can only have one club. No, you can't follow the worst systems of the world and say.
But you have two clubs from Calcutta. Now that is removed, right? Now you have two clubs from Calcutta. You have East Bengal and you have...
Because of Mohan Bagan's Bengal. But tell me one more city from where they've allowed it. Yeah, you've had it, but tell me where they've allowed it. I'll tell you. Ronnie Screwvala was going to come up with a team called U Mumbai in Mumbai. They've done everything. Right?
Not for the ISL, for the second division, yes.
I-League.
I-League, for the I-League. For the I-League.
I mean, there are other clubs also who wanted to go straight to I-League. We both know.
Yeah.
Okay, and by the way, so some clubs are not relegated because they're a president's friend. Some clubs are relegated because they don't mean anything. Some clubs are taken 3 crore rupees from. Okay, like Gokulam paid 3 crores. And given some clubs, because they know the president, just come in for free, even when they've never won the state.
Srinidhi paid some money, I think. Okay.
Srinidhi is not the wrong one. Srinidhi has invested enough money in sports. So they showed investment in sports. That's one thing. That's how I came. I showed investment in sports. Either you showed investment in sports or you're going to put in sports in the last 5 years. So either you have to give them that bank guarantee. So I said, I don't have any money. I can show you what I spent on. Same as Srinidhi spent that, they paid just the money you spent. Gokulam was brand new and they paid 3 crores. So I still tease him that he's the only club which has ever paid to get the bank. Otherwise, they're all Siparshis. Okay, they just come in with all Siparshis.
So I just
by the way,
so
the moment this what happened, I-League became a mini ISL. बात तो वही होगी ना वो 18 करोड़ लेते हैं 3 करोड़ ले रहे बट वो साल के हर साल लेते हैं.
So I wanted to ask this also, like since you is being part, was there any inquiry done into what actually happened at the women's Asian, that whole debacle that happened in Mumbai? Was there anything looked into?
And just to add to Sandeep, what is the amount of money that we spent on the tournament to play one match?
Not only that, they were in such a bad way that they were trying to blame the AFC and FIFA, where the entire fault was with our organizing department.
Okay. And this we all said this openly.
We pointed this out. Yeah, we read the rules, so we know this. Yeah,
and it's totally their fault. They have not only robbed Indian girls of a World Cup opportunity. Guarantee you, man, they would have reached the World Cup because they would have beaten that team, Indonesia. Somebody else reached. Nah.
Yeah.
And
they didn't play the games.
Yeah, they were staying in a hotel, which was the only team to stay in, not the other hotel. For some reason, because that hotel had a deal with somebody else who was going to pay him.
We heard there was no bubble. There was no
bubble means that they were made to come in there was no bubble because 2 days before the match, they were made to come in bloody normal flights. When other teams actually...
How does that make any sense to fly out to just in a week before the tournament?
So... this is what has to be asked, and this is the kind of inquiries which have to be done. Do you really think these inquiries would have been done? For example, you saying FSDL, if they were doing the right job, why is Alex Ambrose still there? Why are you blaming FSDL for Alex Ambrose? Because if they were actually taking care of stuff, they would have made sure these things are not wrapped under the carpet, man.
Right.
In 2 minutes, CEO has come and done it. Nah. That means I'm not talking about CEO is great. I'm saying anyone who wants to do it can. Okay? Otherwise, these things have been being swept under the carpet for long.
By technical committee, executive committee, these two committees, you agree that they had the power, yes, to do a lot of... The technical committee and the executive committee had a lot of powers.
Yes.
And they did not...
Technical committee didn't have any power till when? Before ISL. After ISL, they had zero power. There was a person of FSDL sitting in every committee. Every bloody committee had FSDL
Huh.
representative. So
Okay.
even the technical committee for the national coach had a representative.
Huh.
So
But he
what
was
did
still outnumbered. He was still outnumbered.
tell you what to start? They used to select three. So how was the national coach selected? So the three, they used to send just three resumes after selecting everything. From all the resumes who came, AFF and FSDL used to just select three from there and send them. कि इन तीन में से select कर. अब इन तीनों को इंटरव्यू की डेट जाती थी. कब जाती थी? एक को जाती थी इंटरव्यू से 24 घंटे पहले, एक को 26 घंटे पहले और एक को 2 हफ्ते पहले. जो 2 हफ्ते पहले गई है वो तो बंदा पहुंच गया भाई, वीजा वूजा पहन के. जो मिस्टर एल्बर्ट रोका थे उन बेचारों को पहुंची एक दिन पहले. वो कहता भाई साहब मैं स्पेन से कैसे हूं, व्हाट द हेल इज दिस. सो
So you about the women's team, you were saying something. You got distracted.
yeah, okay, so it was Arka asked me about this. So now in the women's team, it was totally according to what the facts we have is totally the fault of these guys. They've not only ruined this because they've ruined the generation of Indian footballers. Half of those girls within 5 years will be married. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but they'll leave football. Okay, and if they had actually played in the World Cup, they would have made sure they don't leave football. They probably would have had academies later on after 5-10 years of their life, and they would have been made for life. How many fathers will now allow their girls to go into football after this Alex Ambrose thing happens?
It's a good question. Yeah.
Yes, how many? And this could have been stopped. So see, why are you saying why am I picking FSDL? Because if FSDL said, okay, fine, we are only concerned about the ISL. This is our view. Okay, and everything is on them. Good enough. But you are saying we own everything, don't touch anything. Okay, this is all ours. You can't even put your video on in I League or all these things. National coach being select. You can only select team from here.
Okay.
I mean, to Z. Then you can't say that we didn't know about Alex Ambrose. Then everything which goes wrong in AFF is your fault. Praful Patel overstayed, your fault because you wanted him to overstay. If you mean to say that FSDL didn't want Praful Patel to overstay, they couldn't have got him out. How?
Wouldn't they have taken him to court? Wouldn't have gone to court?
They wouldn't have. They would have got all the state association on their side and got him out. Like they have got all the 35 out of 36 state associations who were earlier supporting him till 1 year ago. They were all supporting him. वो तो अब जाके एंटी हुए हैं because of elections.
Okay. One last very cheeky question. You have a 2017 interview in which you say that you want to go to the ISL. You want to pay 15 crore and you want to. I mean, not you say you want to go to the ISL.
No, okay, big difference. I said I want to go. Yes, exactly. You've answered my question. Yes, I want to go to the ISL. You put me even in the 6th division. I want to go to the ISL. ISL means I want to go to the top league of the country.
Okay.
But by how? By promotion. I do not want to pay 1 rupee. I should only go there if I deserve to be there. If I don't deserve to be the top league of the country, it doesn't matter how much money my daddy has or I have. I should not be allowed to play there. That means just imagine, man. I'm the richest guy in India. I'm not talking about him. I'm the richest guy in India. Tomorrow, I'll say, Daddy, I want to own a football team. Okay, beta. Mani ji, 18 crore le lo, mere bete ki football team. Oh, how ji, how? That's how easy it is to get a fucking prize in the top league of the country. That's how easy it is. So that guy in the top league of the country who owns the club, Daddy, I want to play football. ले बेटा पैन कैप्टन बन जाके बाद. एंड उस लीग में से हमारी टॉप टीम जाके सिलेक्ट होती है जो हमारी चैंपियंस लीग में जाती है. तो तुम कह रहे हो अभी तो हुआ ही नहीं कभी. बट इट इज पॉसिबल. दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स कैन हैपन एंड यू थिंक इट्स नॉट हैपनिंग. आई कैन नेम एंड आई एम नॉट गोना नेम. Don't ask me. I can name 20 players in the ISL who are there because of Sifarish. And you know all of them who don't deserve to be there. Who are there because they're mamas, chachas, tayas of some agent or owner. You know it.
Okay. Yeah. So you saw to get to ISL is the obvious dream, right? So why go to Delhi?
Top league. See.
Top league. The first division.
Always a dream of a club to be playing in the topmost league they can, in the topmost competitions they can. And that is that is a dream they're taking away. From every guy who owns a club and academy in India, they're taking the dream away. Nobody opens a club and says, okay, I want to participate in the district league, but I don't want to go anywhere. District league and district league जीतनी है. जब वो जीत जाता district league कहता यार, I want to मैं state champion बनना है यार. State champion बन जाता है यार. I League बनना है यार. Leicester कैसे बना था? Leicester would have never happened in India. Why? Because all the so basically European Super
League. We had Aizol. No?
We had Aizol FC.
And we had Minerva.
Yeah, Minerva. Yes, and Chennai.
Yeah, and Chennai. So these stories would have never happened. See, you have these fixed European Super League was this concept which is ISL. It's a rich man's clubs games together, and rest they don't matter. So they had so those six horrible clubs owners were going to abandon everybody in their league. Yes, and they were going to form a new league. Yes, and all the fans were aghast. Even the fans of their own club were aghast that we are here because of these clubs. The same way, these small clubs make up the big clubs. You say, okay, we don't have enough 20 clubs in India to make up top league because performance. So in the Spanish league, the top 4 clubs go and thrash the last 5 clubs 5-0, 6-0, 7-0. Same in the German league, same in the English league. That doesn't mean that they're not there. But the bottom 10 clubs of the Premier League can lose to the championship clubs any day.
Okay.
So I just have one last question.
Speaking of your current club, right? Is it true that the Football Delhi president was instrumental in bringing you to Delhi?
No,
Like,
not at all. He was very anti.
Oh, this is the question that I was also going to
Oh, he
ask.
was an anti-party. And in this election also, he was an anti-party. Not that I was supporting anyone openly. But I am being, okay, you go back to a tweet which I made against him 1.5 years ago. He had gone for that same AGM where Kushal Das was drunk and he couldn't attend the AGM. The first thing Shaji did was when he landed in the AGM, he saw, I think, Mamta Kulkarni or somebody in the airport and he tweeted a picture of her. Oh, I saw my days made Mamta Kulkarni in there. I said, and my tweet was, Shaji Paji, please be there for the right reasons. You've gone there to represent the interests of Delhi football. Please go and ask them why Delhi Football Delhi Football Club has not been allowed to go and represent India in the Asian Championship. That is what your thing should be. So
This is the futsal, no?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, by the way, we had another invitation which the Kushal Das declined. The OFC Oceania had invited India for a free, that means khana pina and everything paid, for India to come and play in the OFC Oceania Futsal Cup. Kushal Das said no, it's not important.
So I think we we discussed 1 hour. We've gone to 2 hours now. So I've run out of all the questions. You've answered everything also.
No, but see, the point is that if there are any other questions, that's what I want to be here. And please ask me anything if there's anything left else now. If you want to go over all the questions which have come in the sign, anything which has come. By the way, I just read something that I quoted 15 quotes. No, I've never ever said in my life that I'll pay any money to get into any league. Why? Not because of him, because I don't have it. Okay, I don't have that much money to pay into these leagues. Okay. And if I had, which I did have when I sold my club, what did I do?
So why did you sell Minerva though? To and go and get a club?
Now, misconception is I sold Minerva. I sold Punjab FC. So it was Minerva Punjab. It was Apollo Minerva Punjab. Then we made it Apollo Punjab FC. Then we took out Minerva from there and made it just Punjab FC. I sold Punjab FC. That means the right to sell to participate in the Indian I League and the 13, 15, 18 teams. So none of the actual academy was sold. It was just right to participate in the league with the names. They made it Round Glass Punjab FC. Minerva Academy started right again. We won the 3rd division, the 2nd division of Punjab, and this year we are in the Premier Division of Punjab. I bought Delhi FC in Delhi and at throwaway rates because I wanted to do something in a state which we got some leadership from, and it was really in a bad way. Within a year and a half of us coming there, yes, we brought the only national title to Delhi in the history of Delhi ever. Not football, any national title. We were futsal champions of India in a very good, and we were state champions. We've already qualified for 2nd division. So the whole point was that what do? Do I stay in a league? I guarantee 4 crores a year. But even if I win the league, I don't go anywhere. But if I come last, I'm down. So I get relegated. What's the point of doing that when you can get relegated, not promoted? Now I know, according to their roadmap, which I don't trust at all, and I was so right not to. According to the roadmap, they should have announced things by 1 year ago. They didn't. According to the roadmap, there'll be promotion in 23-24. So my aim is that I'll get back to that league by how? By starting at the lowest level. So I'll prove to the whole world that if you start from the lowest level and you're good enough, you can get there to the topmost level within 3 years. And I've almost touched half the way because I'm already into 2nd division. And we were almost this close last year to get it done.
So Ranjit, last question here. I just wanted to ask this. What do you think is going to happen tomorrow?
Um, See what I hope happens. I hope this constitution is passed and we are able to get the elections done and the new body comes in and they can do whatever they want. The bill comes in. They want to put, see, they can still put the ISL back and put all this constitution in the bucket. They just amend the articles. But what we didn't want was people going to court. Now, what we are scared of is that the court will actually listen to one of them and give a date. If that happens, we fall foul of FIFA's deadline. Even though I have a great feeling that we will not get a FIFA ban. Why won't we get a
So
FIFA
do
ban?
I.
Yeah, because they've had meetings with the government of India. They've got verbal and financial assurances from government of India for conducting a tournament, plus tax-free status and a lot of stuff, which is very difficult to get. So that's been done, and they are going to be footing half the bill. The government of India, most like what the government is supposed to be done. So getting all that done within a month and a half is very tough. So at least till the end of the World Cup, we have time. And if this is passed, end of the World Cup se pehle, guaranteed the elections will happen, new body will come in. So ban coming in is, we are not Pakistan guys, we are not Kenya. Remember that. No disrespect to them. But if we had to be banned, we would have been banned already. Now, this is very interesting argument about this ban. They said that this is for FIFA to answer. How come it was not third party interference when in 2017 Praful Patel used the same coach, same order to stay on for 3 more years? And then after 2020, when he was not democratically elected, he was just overstaying. Why didn't FIFA come and put a normalization committee immediately? And and when the same order is now being used to remove him, how is that interference? So if FIFA had come in 2020 and removed this guy and got elections done after a normalization committee, this would have not happened. They couldn't because they're under him. He's a FIFA council member. This entire FIFA and AFC team was sent by Mr. Praful Patel. Why do I know? Because each and as I'm not scared of FIFA and AFC, they are the most corrupt body in the whole world, more than AFF and more than AFC. FIFA is corrupt, and so is AFC. So the entire point of coming here, how do we come to know the exact words being mentioned by FIFA and AFC in their meeting, the same word being mentioned by Praful Patel in his things. He's coming on in the meeting and saying that Subrata Datta should be allowed to be sent to SAT. In the FIFA AFC meeting, Praful Patel is coming on and saying all these things. So it's it says a very bad taste in the mouth that you can't even trust them. Because them coming and saying things which have got nothing to do with this and kind of legitimizing Praful Patel more shows that they were hand in glove, and that's why I'm doing
Right. Right. Okay. So time to wrap it up. I know we've asked a lot of questions. You've answered it very patiently. We'll always strive to ask the tough questions. I hope we've done that. I hope we've addressed all sides of the argument. We are here for the fans and we are here to answer their questions and their questions only. Thank you, Ranjit, for being such a sport. We hope you'll be back on the show, and there will never be any softballs. I think we've
I love them, man. I love them. See, the whole point is no softballs. Otherwise, there's no point of having a thing. This just becomes very, very meaningless.
yeah, yeah. And
This way, yeah, this way at least people don't feel that you're feeding me questions and you're actually pointing out the questions that people have to ask. And the fans are the real stakeholders, so they deserve to know. There's a lot of misinformation going on, and that is why I wanted to come and share.
yeah, and we wish Indian football the very best of luck for tomorrow. I feel because it's a very pivotal day, in the history of Indian football. Hopefully no ban, you know and thank you again. Thanks, Sandeep, for joining us.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you so much, Arka. Thank you. It's always been a
Thank
pleasure
you.
and always been. I love to be back. Thank you.
Okay, good
Thank you.
night. See you guys.
Good night, everyone.